Hi, good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Friday weekly Ask Me Any Stock session. If you guys can see and hear me as well, loud and clear, just type a GM for good morning. Let me just acknowledge all of you, those of you who have joined us. You're waiting in the live stream for a while. We have like more than 50 of you over here joining us today. Good morning. Let's see who is here. Hi, good morning. We have Ting over here as well. Good morning, SIA Engineering. Brandon, good to see you again, right? A lot of familiar names, very regular every Friday. Hi, good morning, Ray, as well. ABC, for sure, every time I see you. Ajit, hi, morning as well. Let's see, Andy, good to see you as well. Asking about Cheong. Let's see if we can cover that later as well. Morning, Styler, Ronald, Baksum, Tina, Josephine. Apologies if I cannot call all your names, guys, but I can definitely see the chat messages coming through. Welcome to this live show happening right now. Janet, Victor, Vinpo as well. Esther, thank you so much for joining us. Patrick, first time joining. Very good, right? Hope this will not be the first time. It will be second, third, and a lot of times already. Okay, so welcome, guys, to our Friday weekly Ask Me Any Stock session. And today we'll be diving into the Singapore market, right? So essentially, what does this mean? Well, as the name of this show, goes, right? Ask me any stocks, right? So Singapore stocks. So if you're looking at Singapore stocks, doesn't matter what Singapore stock, right? DBS lah, Sheng Siong lah, whatever, right? You are in the right place because in this session we'll be focusing on Singapore stocks, and we'll do a quick market outlook, and then we'll go on to the next very exciting segment that all of you are waiting for, and that will be to let us know the Singapore stocks that you're watching. In fact, some of you are already typing in the chat already, right? And then we'll just cover it one by one, give you a quick opinion based on the one good trend strategy. All right. And of course, at the end, there'll be 3 bonus Singapore stocks that me and my team will share with you at the end as well. All right. So maybe before we even begin, guys, help me to like and share. That would definitely help out to reach out to more people. All right. And of course, if you like and share, we're live on Facebook as well. I think it will be on your newsfeed, so you'll be able to find the replay much easier as well. Thank you so much. All right. Okay. Very good. Okay. Now, very simple, guys. If we have not met before, my name is Joey, right? Joey Choy, top tier MyZeal trader in Phillips Securities. I've been doing this for more than 15 years now, right? So my forte is pretty much in stocks. All right. We do Singapore stocks, US stocks, a little bit of Hong Kong stocks, but Hong Kong market not really that strong, right? So maybe not for now, but pretty much in stocks, right? So if you're looking at stocks, pretty much, that's what we've been doing. And I use what I call the one good trend strategy, all right, that I've been using for the past 15 over years, all right, to guide me on entry and exit, how to pick winning stocks, how to know when to get out, how to know when not to buy also, right? And later we'll be using this tool that I have. I call it the One Good Trend Pro Indicator, whereby, on any stocks that we're looking at, right? I mean, the stocks that you're asking as well, right? And even on the market, right? We can turn it on, all right? But not turn it on for fun and then don't know what to do, right? But we turn it on and we get some confirmation, some signals, plus other confirmations that we're looking for. It guides us on what to do. All right, whether to wait, right, to be patient, to rush in to buy, all right, and to get out, right, or to not buy, right? So that is what this tool actually helps us with. And then today, I don't have time to explain the whole strategy. All right, we actually have what we call a 7-step checklist that breaks it all down, right? So today is as the name of this show goes, Ask Me Any Stock, right? It's not to explain the whole strategy kind of session, all right? So if you want to find out a little bit more about the entire One Good Trend strategy, right, you can enter the free webinar, right? We have a free webinar coming up in about less than 2 weeks time. The link is right in the chat. Click on it, register for this free webinar. I call it the One Good Trend workshop. It's live, all right, for about 2 hours plus, and that's where I'll break it all down for you, all right? But today will be very fast paced, all right? We try to go and analyze your stock, 1-2 minutes each, and we pass on the mic to one another very quickly, all right? So welcome. I see a lot more of you have joined us. We have like more than 100 of you joining us today. Welcome to this Ask Me Any Stock live show. So very simple, guys. I've shared with you a little bit of myself, the founder of the One Good Trend strategy, but I have my team here with me as well, all right? And we're doing this every single Friday, just to add more value to you guys, right? To give you a quick opinion on your stocks, because that's what we realize for many of our clients, many of our, even the public as well, they don't really understand what to do with their stocks, right? So they need a quick opinion. So since we're doing this every day anyway, all right, we're looking at charts every day anyway, we're looking at the same tools every day. why not help you guys out just to give you guys a quick opinion, right? So I have my team over here as well. Also very proficient with the entire one good trend strategy to know exactly how it works, the entire 7-step checklist as well. All right, and they'll be here as well to help you guys out. All right, to give you a quick take on your Singapore stocks, So let me just quickly introduce the next team member of mine, Bervin, right? Bervin, who has been with me for more than 5 to 6 years now, one of the top brokers under me in Phillip Securities. So I'm a broker in Phillip Securities as well, right? So we have many clients over here joining us as well. All right, later I'll share more with you guys as to how you can, if you're not yet a client, you can get some of our services for free at no additional cost of our top ideas. In fact, team, just place the link in the chat, right? If you're not yet a client of mine in Phillip Securities and you're not getting any service from your own broker, all right, it's just like an app or online platform, you just log in and then nobody call you, nobody's WhatsApp you, nobody send you anything, it's like on your own kind of thing, right? Check it out how you can become a client of mine in Phillip Securities for free, where I'm a broker together with my team, all right, and you do not pay anything more. It's the same as whatever you pay when you're trading, so no difference, right? But at least you get some service, some value add. Link is right in the chat. So Bervin, right, one of the top brokers under me in Phillip Securities, assisting in our team's group coaching sessions, our one-on-one calls with our mentees, also assisting our team's portfolio manager, managing what we call an 8-figure portfolio management business as well, right? And Bervin is a CFA, chartered financial analyst, right? Pretty much not just an expert in technicals, but also fundamentals as well. All right, and we work together very closely under me. All right, and maybe let me pass on the mic to Bervin just to share on how we can add more value to you guys today. All right, Bervin.
All right, thanks Joey for the introduction. Hi everyone, welcome back to our weekly Ask Any Stock session every Friday. Right, so today, as Joey have said, we are covering the Singapore market. So every week we rotate Singapore, US. Very nice to see so many familiar names here, coming back to the community every week. All right, so how can we best help you guys? All right, how can we best help you guys? So later when you guys are typing in some of your stocks, like Joey have said, also to give us a little bit of context. Now, a little bit of context, at least we know whether you are holding the stock, you're looking to buy, you're looking to sell, right? So we can actually tailor our opinions a little bit more better to suit you, all right? Right, so the Singapore market and the US market earnings are kicking off already, as you guys know. So the market is seeing a little bit more movement. All right, World Cup also over. We know who won World Cup. So now it's back to trading, right? It's back to trading, back to people watching the market again. All right, so second half of this year, hopefully everybody is able to get a better footing in the market. If not, if you haven't already attended Joey's free 1GT webinar to actually find out a little bit more about the framework that we use on a daily basis, click on the link in the chat just to find out a little bit more. If you're keen, just sign up for it. It's absolutely free. All right, okay. So I'll pass the time back to Joey to introduce our next team member. Joey?
All right, thank you so much, Bervin. So we have Z as well over here today, right? And those of you who have been following us, you have been seeing Z analyze stocks as well, right? Very proficient, right? Very clear, very systematic, all right? And Z is what we call a chartered market technician, pretty much an expert in charts, technical analysis, patterns, candlestick, price action, whatever, right? She's an expert in charts, and I do consult her on certain technical price action as well, all right? And of course, Z is assisting our teams as well with the one-on-one calls for our mentees, group coaching sessions, our portfolio manager as well, right? So maybe just let me pass on the mic to Z to just share a little bit. Z, go ahead.
All right, thanks Joey for the introduction. Hi everyone, my name is Z if you have not met. So basically, like what Joey said, just to sum it up in a few words is I just like to look at charts, right? Basically, anything that has price action, look at the charts. But I think one of the key, struggles, right, that I think we have come across from a lot of our mentees and our clients is that they don't really have a process or a framework when they are looking at charts. They know a bit of this, a bit of that, but then how do you actually put everything together, right? I think that is what we are trying to aim to do every Friday, right? To show you guys, hey, what is some of the things that we look for, like confirmations, support, resistance, things like that. But of course, like what Joey mentioned earlier on, we don't have time today to cover everything, right? The step-by-step checklist, no, we don't have time, right? Because we are trying our best to cover as many stocks as possible that you guys request, right? So with that, if you want to find out a bit more about the strategy, like why are we looking at certain things, what are some of the confirmations we look at, feel free to attend the 1GT webinar, right? I think that is coming up in about 2 weeks' time, like what Joey mentioned. But otherwise, today, throughout the next 2.5 hours, we hope that we are able to cover as many stocks as possible that you guys requested. But hopefully, you know, you are able to catch some things here and there, you know, and hopefully this will be able to give you a bit more like direction lah, right? In terms of when you're looking at your chart and analyzing your stocks. All right. So with that, passing back over to you, Joey, to start off today's session.
All right, thank you so much. Let's get started, right? Just a quick disclaimer as usual, guys. You know, whatever that's being shared today and all our live sessions is just for education purposes only, right? So please do your own due diligence, do a bit of homework as well. We are not really asking you to buy or sell anything. We're just sharing with you our one good trend framework, right? The structure, the tools that we're using, the indicators that guide us on what to do, right? We're just sharing with you, all right? But you decide on your own actions. Cool. All right. So this quick disclaimer. Let's get started. Let's move on to what we call the markets. The markets, type of M for markets, guys. If you want me to do a quick run up of the market very quickly, M for market. Let me know. M for markets, right? Before we look at maybe the US market very quickly, maybe the S&P 500 index, and then maybe the Singapore market as well, right? M for market. Let me know. All right. Let's see. I think a lot of you have joined us already. We have more than 160 of you joining us today. M for markets, Ajif, good to see as well. M as well. Markets. Okay, very good. Now, let's take a look very quickly. Just a quick run through of what has happened in the markets over the past few weeks, right? So the S&P 500 index right here, yesterday we sold down a little bit, right? 7,408. So if you have been following the news, right, basically, I'll not talk too much about what has happened since like March. I think all of you know about the US-Iran war. It escalated. It got a little bit better. There was a 60-day ceasefire agreement that was signed. But then again, all right, since like the ceasefire is now over, all right, and it escalated again between US and Iran, all right. So there's like missiles flying around, all right. Some facilities were bombed as well. If you have followed the news over the past few days, so that is kind of like the uncertainty in the market. Oil prices has spiked up over the past 3 to 4 weeks as well due to these developments, all right, happening. Okay, but I wouldn't say it's as bad as happened. I mean, it was in March when it first started. All right, that was where it was like a tit for tat. It was like Middle East countries were being bombed as well. The US facilities in the Middle East, countries like Saudi Arabia, all right, Kuwait, and the rest of the other Middle Eastern, states were kind of like affected, right? But now we'll say it's still, the issue is still there. It's not completely solved yet. Oil prices have gone up. I think that's the reason why we're still not seeing a lot of strength in the S&P 500 index. Of course, the tech stocks are reporting earnings as well. There's some tech stocks which are doing well, some are not doing well. Some earnings have surprised to the upside. Some are kind of like went down. I mean, below expectations, and some of these tech stocks have sold off as well. So I think a bit of weakness in the technology sector due to a potential rate hikes coming in, right? Over the past 2 weeks, that was what was, talked about as well in terms of the Federal Reserve, kind of Fed fund rate, rate hikes, right? Okay, so that is pretty much what is happening in the market. So I would say that for S&P 500 index, very quickly the same thing, right? We have again pushed away from this 7,600 resistance level. As I say, that is the resistance, all right? We have talked about over the past few live sessions as well, all right? We are pretty much capped below that same 7,600. You can see like every time we go there, all right, and sellers just came back, all right, the market push away from that resistance, and we sold down 1 time, 2 time, 3 time, 4, 5 time, all right, every time. In fact, yesterday also like push away from that 7,600, right? So it's a level to cross. I mean, it's a level that we need to negotiate and to break above it very firmly in order to see more upside momentum in the market, all right? That is a level to watch. If we can break that level, then I think the market will be much more bullish, all right? Going forward, it will be another phase up, right? After the rally we have seen since end of March. So you can see end of March all the way to middle of May. Very strong rally, right? Look at this, right? All the way up. Then, for the past 2 months, consolidation, sideways, taking a rest, which is okay, right? I mean, it needs to rest. If it keep on going up also, you want to be scared. So if it rests for a while, that is actually a good thing, right? And no, we're actually seeing resistance near that 7,006. But doesn't mean you see a resistance means we're weak, right? It just means that sellers are approaching at a particular key level, right? But every time we sell down, it doesn't like, just down and then down and then down and down. And then you want to be careful, right? Because that's where you're breaking support, you're like a potential reversal back down, right? But no, right? We are seeing reselling near the resistance, but every time we pull back, Actually, some bargain I think come back also, right? Support used for the market used to be like about 7,250, right? But it seems like now, not even 7,250, maybe 7,300 has came out for the S&P 500 index. So if it does near that 7,300, like what we saw, over the past one month, well, that could be a good opportunity as well. All right, maybe to get in on this, especially if you are one of those who, buy the index, the SPY, the S&P 500 ETF. That's what you could potentially look at as well. 7,300, that could be what we call a key support level for the market. So long-term trend is up. I mean, look at the red and the blue line. We have been talking about this since last year. Long-term trend, no issue. It has been up. For the short-term trend, you can see that the short-term trend, we look at the green 20 days moving average line. All right. It was flat January and February when the year started. US-Iran war started. The Middle East crisis escalated. It pointed down, down, down. Somewhere in March, things got a little bit better, all right? There were some talks, developments, all right, in Pakistan. They met up over there, all right? And you can see the green short-term 20 days moving average line started to reverse back up, all the way up, right? Short-term trend turned up. There we go. Does it make sense, right? And after that, as I say, since June to July, about 1.5 to 2 months, you can see the green line is pretty much flat. Sideways, right? Why? Because as I say, we are in a consolidation. We are kept below that 7,300 to that 7,600, right? And that is where I would say the short-term trend is sideways. Now, let me go ahead to, turn on this one good trend pro indicator. As I say, now what I've done is I would say a manual analysis in terms of the trend in the longer term, the short term, and of course, some of the key support and resistance level, right? The range. However, what I could do is actually to get another confirmation. As I say, we have these two right over here called the one good trend pro indicator, all right? The very first box right over here called the buy, sell signals. Basically the bullish green signals or the red bearish signals. Based on my one good trend criteria, turn it on, pump. There we go, right? In a matter of seconds, right? Any market, any asset classes, US stock, Singapore stock. I mean, today we are looking at Singapore stock, right? But even the market also can, all right? Turn it on. There we go. All right. We have been talking about this. You can see that we had bearish signals since like March. The market sold off. Not so good, right? The reversal has happened somewhere in the beginning of April. We got two bullish signals that led the reversal, all the way up. And the most recent signal would be what we call a red bearish 1 GT signal. All right. So red doesn't mean it's going to crash and stuff. This means that some selling have came back. I mean, from that, early two bullish signal from early April, right, all the way up. When we see a red color bearish signal, it means that, it's not as strong as it was already. It's not as if like, wow, you can just go up all the way to like 8,000, 9,000. No, right? It's a bit of selling coming back. It doesn't mean it's going to crash, but it just means that maybe we have hit to a resistance and some profit taking and came back. The market may be out of that very strong upward momentum phase to a bit of a sideways consolidation phase, or maybe even going down, right? If certain supports are broken, right? So that is what a 1 GT bearish signal actually means. And true enough, right? After the bearish signal, as I say, we started to consolidate. So what I'm looking for would be, obviously, a brand new 1 GT bullish signal right away. So you can see, previously in April, we got 1, 2, right? I mean, now don't have yet. I don't know when it will come out, right? But if it comes out, then we will know. Does it make sense, right? So my take is very simple, right? I think if you can break the 7,600 resistance level, and if we get another 1 GT bullish signal like what we've seen in early April, I think that will be where the market would be a bit more certain. I mean, in terms of the news development as well, coming from the Middle East as well, maybe in the interest rate direction. All that would be, I would say, catalyst for the market to move even higher. And if that 7,600 resistance gives way, we see a new 1 GT bullish signal. All right. And even the short-term trend, which I mentioned just now, the green line, which is obviously flat, right, starts to point up. Now it's flat, right? But let's say we see a bullish signal, the green line like that, then different story. Then I would not say it's like boring and then sideways really. I would say that is where the market would be more bullish, all right? Like what we've seen early April, we could potentially see the next phase of upside. All right, so that's what I'm looking for, right? So, I mean, it hasn't break the 7,006 yet. Please don't ask me when. I also don't know when now. But if it happens, I will know. If a bullish signal can come out, I will know as well. All right, and those are, several confirmations that we seek to see a new target, right, for the market, or to see even more upside momentum. All right. So I think for now, as I say, pretty much sideways, 7,003 to 7,600 level. Right. That is pretty much the range as we await more positive development between the Middle East crisis. All right. Maybe oil prices stabilizing as well. All that would be pretty much, I would say, good catalyst to bring it up to the higher phase. Okay, Ken? So this is the S&P 500 index. I hope you guys are a bit clearer into the US market. Now, very quickly, since we're looking at the Singapore market today, let's quickly take a look at the STI, Singapore's Straits Times Index, right over here. So Singapore Straits Times Index, the Singapore market has been, in case you don't know, we have been very bullish. We've been very bullish since, I would say, May, June, July. All right. As I say, the S&P we kept at 7,006, right, for the past 2 months, very boring sideways. But STI, no leh. It's pushing higher there. All right. In fact, I think it seems to be a bit stronger, right? We have broken some of the key resistance level, like the 5,000, 5,100, even 5,002 gave way as well. And more buying pressure came back. So Singapore has been strong, right? And if you've been following, some of you are even asking about the banks, right? DBS, OCBC, UOB. Well, that has been pretty much the play, I would say, in terms of the financial sector in the Singapore market over the past 1 to 2 months. That's the reason why STI has pushed higher, because the banks, the three banks, DBS, OCBC, and UOB, right, together accounts for about 50% of weightage of the STI. So the banks are all pushing higher. STI, is following as well. All right, that's where STI has gone even higher to what we call a record high. So different. Singapore and US market, very different. Singapore is stronger than the US, I would say, over the past 1 month. All right, and I think that's the market that you want to be focusing on as well, right? Not just US, but actually there's a lot of opportunities in the Singapore market, right? If you know where to look, right? All right, and many of these opportunities, right, that we focus on, we actually share them with our clients in Phillip Securities. All right, so I'm not too sure, as I said, I'm not too sure how many of you are clients of mine in Phillip Securities. All right, maybe help me out here, guys. How many of you are clients of mine in Phillip Securities? Type a C for client. If you are a client of mine in Phillip Securities, I want to acknowledge and thank you for your support. All right, really appreciate it. C for client, guys. If you have a trading account under me in Phillip Securities, just a normal trading account. You need to buy and sell stock, you need a trading account, right? Type a C for client, guys. If you are a client of mine in Phillip Securities, let me just thank you. Brandon, for sure, right? Thank you so much for support. All right, Andy, John, client. So a lot of clients joining us every week. A lot of clients also, right? Client C, Howard, Monica as well, James, Raka, client. Very nice. Okay, so very simple. I would say that if you are not yet a client of mine in Phillip Securities, well, find out how you can become one. The link is right in the chat. I think just paste the link in the chat. I think it's gone up already, right? Find out how you can become a client so that you can not miss some of these Singapore opportunities that we share on a daily basis by WhatsApp, right? To capture these opportunities in the Singapore market. As I say, Singapore is strong, but not all are strong. Some are strong, some are not so strong, right? So you want to know what stocks to focus on. Live, daily, WhatsApp. Find out how you can become a client of mine in Phillip Securities. You do not pay anything more. It's the same as whatever you pay when you're trading. So as I say, if you are trading, you have a trading account in a broker, but you don't get any service kind. This is what a lot of clients tell us. Where got service? No service. Nobody call me, nobody WhatsApp me. I just do myself. That link is right in the chat. Right? Find out how what many of our clients are saying. All right. Maybe don't take my word for it. See what our clients are saying. Then you can go to apply. My team will reach out to you. Okay. Very quickly. STI right over here. Resistance very clearly 5,600. All right, that is the cap over the past 1 to 2 weeks. All right, it seems like some selling has happened over there, which I think is normal. We've seen a very strong rally since mid of June. You can see, right, we actually got a 1 GT bullish signal popping up right over here somewhere in 17th of June. All right, today is the 24th of July, so more than 1 month already. In case you don't know, right, we have gone up. We got a bullish signals that led that rally. Long-term trend already up. The short-term trend was up. Now still up. I think we are taking a breather below that 5,600 resistance for the STI, right? Support, it used to be 5,400, right? It used to be 5,400, but you can see that over the past 2 weeks, well, support have gone even higher. Not even 5,400, I think 5,500. All right, seems like some bargain hunting have came back. That's what has been happening over the past 1 week. So I think the range for STI 5,005 to 5,006. Short-term trend up, long-term trend up. Indicators are all looking good. I think that there could still be more legs to the rally. I think Singapore market is still strong. It's still strong. Okay, okay. So very good, guys. As I say, check out how you can become a client of mine in Flip Securities to get some of our top ideas in the Singapore market for free at no additional cost on the daily basis by WhatsApp. Okay, now let's move on to the next part, guys, which would be to cover the Singapore stocks that you guys are asking about. So I've not looked at the chat right now, but let me go to do it right now, whereby I will pick the very first stock for today, to cover, right? So very simple, guys, as I mentioned, right, and what Bervin has mentioned as well, when you type the name of the Singapore stock that you want a quick opinion on, right, what you want to do is very simple, right? And I think that's what a lot of you are doing because you all know our pattern, our style already. Huh? We'll confirm give you more priority one if you give us a bit of context, like not just one name there, but the name and then like what you want to do, right? You want to buy, you want to sell, right? If you want to sell, you bought like last year, what price? Last month you bought what price, or yesterday you buy, I don't know, right? What price? All right, give us a bit of context, all right? Or maybe you want to buy, right? You haven't buy before, you want to buy because you think it's quite good. Then a bit of context, like why you want to buy, right? Is there a support over here? Blah blah blah. That's where I would think that we have a bit more understanding of your intentions, right? So that the analysis can be a bit more personalized to you, right? Rather than just one name, also don't know what you want to do. Make sense, right? So let's pick the very first stock for today, all right? The very first stock for today. And maybe, let me see. Karen Lai, right? One of the first few messages I saw. Good morning, Nam Chong, you bought at $1.34. Hold or stop loss? Thank you so much for giving us a bit of context. So you bought already, 134. Don't know now what price. Let's see. Nam Chong. Let's take a look. 134. So you bought maybe you bought over here. I think it should be somewhere. Now it's 119. Okay, so you bought 119. Okay, I mean, you bought 134. Now it's at about 1.19. All right, team, just remove the banner. Okay, very good. Now, so you bought it. Should you get out? Should you stop loss? Maybe it's time to see a bit of a recovery. Let's go to find out for Namdrong. So you got in right over here about 134. Okay, so it depends, right? I would say that Karen, right? If you have got in for Namdrong, I'm not too sure exactly when you got in, because 134 could be like in May when you got in, or in like February when you got in. Make sense? All right. So you tell me actually you got in February, actually there's no issue because it was looking strong. 134, it went to like 160, 170. You could take some profit over there. But if you tell me you got in May, then by right should not have got in now. Why? Because you can see that we actually got a 1 GT bearish signal popping out. So when we get a bearish signal popping out, I say it's a bit weaker already. You don't want to rush, right? We want to be patient, right? And you can see that when we got a bearish signal, the short-term trend, the green line that was like going up, also started to point down. Now, hang on, now never point down. Now a bit pointing up already. Lucky. Okay, later we come to where we are right now today. But you get my point, right? If you see a bearish signal plus the short-term trend is down, then you don't want to rush. You want to be more patient because we could be seeing more selling. Does it make sense, right? And I mean, look at it. It's not too bad. I mean, previously also we got some bullish signals popping out in November last year, December last year. If you have got in over here, best lah. Wow, I think I don't know how much. From here all the way to a bearish signal, 94% in like 6 months. Then of course you must know when to get out. You will not be 94, you'll be lesser. Make sense, all right, Ken? So when to get in, when to get out as well when you see a bearish signal, and when not to rush to get in. Right? Until you get the confirmation of the reversal, then you prepare yourself to get back in, to ride the reversal. Does it make sense, all right, Ken? All right. So back to your question, Namchong, you bought at 134. Thanks for the context, right? So should you hold or stop loss? Well, as I say, by right, you should not have bought if it's over here. But if you have got in over here, you should have got out, take some profit already, right? Now that you have held it down, all right, and you can see it's about $1.19 right now. Well, of course, it has came down already. So if you have not got out, then no choice. But let's see what can you potentially do right now. So over the past 1 month, thankfully, it seems like some support have came out at about 105. All right, 105. Look at this, right? We rebounded. A couple of good bullish candlesticks happening right around 105. So I think that 105 to 110 will be what we call a good buying zone. It seems like some good support have came out over there. Thankfully, right? Of course, if the 105 breaks down, we can go even lower. But thankfully, support have came out good, right? That's something that is not so bearish already, right? The next thing will be the green 20 days moving average line, the short-term trend, right? Down, down, down. So if you ask me in May or June, I'll say you want to get out, don't hold all the way down. As I say, when you see a bearish signal, when you broke 140, you should get out at 137, 136. Just reduce exposure. Of course, don't go and buy, all right? And that could save you all the downside move, right? It could save you on the losses, all right? So we don't want to get in if you see a bearish signal, right? But never mind, since you hold all the way down, right? Now it's very near the support, and there are some signs of what we call the short-term trend also turning back up. Well, hopefully, we need a bit more confirmation, right? So you can see that if I can turn on this trailing support level, another powerful feature of the One Good Trend Pro indicator, right? You can see that this trailing support is right over here around the 125, right over here, 124, 125, right? So over the past few days, it seems like we're still capped below the $1.25. Karen? All right. So I would say that probably don't want to stop loss right now, because at least the support have came out. If you want to stop loss, you should have done it in May, but now it came down, you get out a bit wasted. But what you want to watch is this. Okay. I think if the $1.25 resistance, or where this trailing resistance is, can give way, all right, and we can break above that 125 or maybe even 130, I think that is where potentially, all right, we could start to see what we call that reversal happening again. So 125 to 130, I think these are all very key levels you want to watch. All right, if you can go above 125 to 130, all right, and we see a new, haven't come out yet, all right, but let's say a new 1 GT, like over here, can you see? We got a bearish signal came down, the first bullish signal in November, the second one came out in December. You see what happened, right? So now got come out or not? Haven't yet, but if it come out, then can it be like November or December or January? I don't know, but that is where, if it does come out, we get bullish signals coming out. If the green 20 days moving average line that is slightly pointing up also continue to point up like this, all that will be confirmations that we are indeed seeing strength. The reversal can be more firm, all right? And that's where you hopefully can ride it all the way back up, take some profit near that 160 to maybe 165 level. That is where selling can come back again, right? So have a plan, right? I think those are key levels to watch. 125 to 130, that's a key resistance. Hopefully we can break above these key resistance over the next few days or next 1 or 2 weeks. That will lead to more momentum in the upside direction. Cool, Karen. I hope that helps. That will be the very first stock, Cheong. Right. Let me pass on the mic to Bervin to cover the next Singapore stock. Bervin, yours.
Thanks, Joey. Okay, so let's go to the next stock, guys. Okay, here we go. Shah, hi Shah. Good morning. Hopefully, you're still here. Thinking of buying ST Engineering. What is a good price to enter? All right, let's take a look together. Okay, on the screen right now we have ST Engineering. I think for ST Engineering, since the start of or since last year, there was a prolonged consolidation phase, right? Since July all the way to January of this year, about 6 months or so, right? Pretty much just moving sideways, ting tong, upwards, $7.50 to $9, came back down, go up again, and finally broke it, right? Then we had a 1 GT bullish signal show up here, moving averages all started to point up, right? The green above the red, above the blue, all pointing up, and there we go. We took off for a little bit, right? Pushed up higher for about 15-16%. And then right now, looking at back where we are today, we have definitely entered another consolidation phase. All right, just going up and down, 10.40, upwards to 11.50, downwards 10.40, so on and so forth. And right now, we are actually closer to what we call a support, right? A horizontal support that has been tested multiple times. All right, Shah, you might want to write this down or draw this on your chart as well. $10.40. Once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times we have tested this support already. And every time we have rebounded, or every time we see buyers actually coming back in to push prices back up again. Right, but there are some signs of weakness. Right, there are some signs of weakness, especially in the nearer term sense. Right, we have what we call lower highs forming in this consolidation as well. And that 20 days moving average since last week had point down a little bit. It started to slope down, headed below the 100 days moving average. And right now, we are flattening out and pointing up a bit. Right, so I would draw one more line just here for you. I think right around that $11.10 level. Right, 11 to 11.10. Right, if we are able to clear this level or push higher from this level, breach this level, break the ceiling, right, we could see more upside towards that 11.50 level once again. Otherwise, I would say the formation or that lower high pattern continues to hold. Definitely continues to hold, right? Never break above the 11.10, but come back down again. So you may want to actually just take note of that levels. If you're looking to get in, right, you're thinking of what is a good price to buy. We are actually very close to a buy zone lah. All right, to maybe 10.50, 10.40, all the way up to about maybe 10.60. Right, which is where prices are trading at this morning. We are in that buy zone. Just that you are buying, you could be buying under some weakness. So rather than just thinking about what is a good price to buy, you would also have to think about what is a good price to exit. Not just to buy. Buy, of course, easy, 10.50, 10.40, 10.60, also can buy. But buying is one part of the equation. Selling is the other part of the equation. Right? If prices were to really break below the 10.40 level, head towards the $10 level again, do you have an exit plan? All right, prices head up towards the $11.50, $11 level. Do you have an exit plan also to take profits or to stop losses? All right, so I think Shah, there is some levels to actually consider right now. We also have a 1GT bearish signal. Bearish, not bullish, red color one, not so good. Right, so one thing you could also do would be to actually set up some alerts. I'm not too sure if you have the access to Joey's 1GT indicator, but if you do have access to it, you could also right click, add alert. Instead of a price alert, we can do a technical alert that alerts us if we have any new buy or sell signals. All right, just right click, select condition 1GT indicator, buy or sell, just click on create. And when you have a new 1GT bullish or bearish signal, you will be alerted towards the signal. Come in, take a look at the chart. I mean, hopefully we see a bullish one. Don't see another bearish one. If bearish one, you have entered already, you know what is the next step to actually look after your capital to protect your downside. Right, but right now, at least the 100 days and 200 days moving average still looks good. Right, so you could position yourself, to enter close to the support level, but with that near-term weakness present, have a stop loss plan and of course a take profit plan. You don't want to prices head up to 11.50, then head back down again, then you're still holding. And then also good because if you're not able to get out with some profits, then it's just opportunity cost right there. Right? Okay to take some partial profits at 11.50, just a little bit, and leave some exposure if we indeed able to break above the 11.50. $12.50 would be our team's next target as well. Hopefully, Shah, that clears it a little bit for you. For ST Engineering, so far still looking not too bad. Can expect a little sideways consolidation to continue. All right, sideways consolidation could continue. Just have alerts set up at those key levels that I've mentioned, and probably you have written down as well. All right, so that is for ST Engineering. I'll pass the time now to Z to cover the next stock for you guys.
All right, thanks, Bhavin. Okay, so the next stock that I have here will be by Ajib, right? Took a position in Frencken E28 yesterday. Please advise if indicators good for medium hold. Okay, so when people usually ask this, like short term, long term, so when people ask about, hey, is this good to hold for medium to long term, right? Sometimes it's a bit scary. Why? Is because if you ask this question, right, and if we say, hey, the long, medium, when we look at 100 days, 200 days, it still looks okay right now. But short term doesn't look too good. Then you will ignore the short term weakness and then just continue to hold because I hold for medium to long term, right? But no. We still want to look at it in totality, right? Whereby if there is short term weakness, there also still need to be plan in place to perhaps reduce exposure. Okay, so let me dive right into this, right? And then I will explain the concept a little bit more. All right. So for Frencken right now, right, you can see that price is trading about $2.67. Right over here, right? And I would say that for Frencken chart, you can see it is usually not all the charts are so easy to see in terms of the support and resistance. Not everything is so nice, right? Sometimes the market, they don't really care what you think and they don't really have a very clear support or resistance. But whereas for Frencken, I would say that majority of you here, if you draw the lines on your own, perhaps you will have drawn something similar to mine, right? Somewhere around the same zone. May not exactly be the same, but it will be around that zone, right? So that is the reason why we always talk about it as a support zone and a resistance zone. All right. So right now, as you can see, $2.67, right? Longer term trend, always going back to the basics, right? Longer term trend, red and the blue line, does it look okay? Look okay, right? Because they are still going up. But short term wise, green line, 20 days moving average, where is it going? It's pointing down, right? And we also have a 1GT bearish signal that's actually still playing out. Right, and as mentioned, price is currently trading about $2.67. So immediate support, right? Immediate support, it will be pretty clear that it will be somewhere around this $2.60, right? Which is what we call as a support zone, right? A support zone right over here. Let me change this to green. And you can also see that within this support zone, right? Wow, previously, when prices approach this support zone, look at this candlestick. Even though it's red in color, but it is a pretty bullish candlestick. Why? It's because of the long lower shadow, right? The very long lower shadow, right? Which indicates that during the trading session, right, buyers came in to push the price all the way up. That is the reason why we are seeing this long lower shadow. And it happens at this support zone, right? This 260 support zone. And over the past few days, price head down, right? Testing this support zone. At this point in time, is it still holding above this support zone? Yes. But will it break below the support zone next week? I don't know. Maybe, right? It could. Why? Because 20 days moving average, is it still pointing down? It is still pointing down. 1GT bearish signal, is it still playing out? Yes, it is still valid, right? And usually, what we want to look for when we are thinking about buying near support zone, right, is that you want to make sure that the short term, right, at least it is not pointing down and it is going sideways, right? So for RJ's case, you mentioned that you bought a position, you bought in yesterday, right? Yesterday, so I would say maybe this candlestick here, maybe I don't know what's your exact price and also your position sizing and your risk management plan in place, but maybe somewhere around $2.70 something, right? I will assume it's around $2.70 something. So now price is at $2.67, maybe a bit of in a bit of red, right? But it is still holding above a support. But the key thing is you do need to have a plan in place. Why? Is because if prices were to continue to head lower, right, test this support the next week, but cannot hold and it breaks below this 260, right, potentially what could we be seeing would be there could potentially be more short-term weakness back towards the next support at around $2.20, which is here. You can see previously it was a resistance for about 1 month, right? From March all the way to April. Before it broke above this resistance, turning it to be a support, and it went all the way up to the $3.60 range, right? But now, so the key thing, right, that we want to look out for would be if prices is able to break, if prices is able to hold above this 260 support zone, and if it doesn't hold, that is where you also want to have a plan in place, right, to manage your downside risk. Right, to manage the downside risk, even if you are saying that you want to hold for medium to long term, right? Medium to long term. So just now I was saying I will explain the concept a little bit more, right? So on the same stock, if you were to look back, don't need so far, maybe 2024, this period, you can see, right, short-term weakness start to return, right? Return over here, okay, then came back. It starts to return again subsequently in the next couple of months, right? But when short-term weakness return, and if you do not have a plan in place, can you see that the longer-term trend, right, subsequently will also start to show weakness and turn down? And that is when you can see, in the situation whereby if you tell yourself, I want to hold for medium to long term, right? But your funds could potentially be stuck for more than 6 months, right? If this were to happen and you tell yourself that, I want to hold for longer term, right? And that is where the opportunity cost will come in, right? So that is the reason why we don't just say, I want to hold for long term, I don't care about the short term, right? We still want to care about the short term. We still want to take a look at the bigger picture, right? To have a plan in place, to take active steps, right? To protect your capital, okay? So, Ajif, those are some of the levels. I hope you're still here, right? And you're able to catch some of the levels, write down some of the levels, right? In terms of the very crucial support right now about 260 and also the previous support at about 220, right? And if it is able to hold above this and prices is able to sustain above this 260, then the potential upside target that we are looking towards could be raised back towards the $3.60 resistance zone right over here. All right, so Ajif, I hope that helps to give you something to think about, right? Don't just purely think about, hey, I want to hold long term, I ignore the short term trends, right? We still want to look at it in totality. Okay, so that would be for Frencken. Passing it back over to you, Joey, to cover the next Singapore stock.
All right, thank you so much, Z. Let's move on to the next one. All right, very quickly, that would be asked by Suresh. But here, let me just go to change my screen. Okay, now Suresh, your question is this: hi, Joey and team. Can I ask whether to buy sets? Right, the code is S58. It went above 460, which is high. All right, is there more upside? What price can be considered to get in? All right, so sets services. So thanks for giving us a bit of context. You're looking to get in, but then it seems a bit high also. Then you're also a bit scared, right? Don't know whether is it time to get in, right? So let's go to analyze sets right now. So this is sets right over here, $4.68, right? So very quickly, let's go turn on the 1GT Pro indicator. As I say, any stock, any asset classes, we turn it on in 2 seconds, pump. And let's see what happens, right? Very clearly for sets, we actually got some rates bearish signals popping out in February. All right, not so good. If you get buy, then you get stuck, right? It starts going down. Another one, then will go down even more, right? So when we see red color bearish signal, then we don't want to buy But since like May, in fact, on the 26th of May, which is like quite long already, more than 2 months back, 26th of May, we got the first 1GT bullish signal popping out. And if I'm not wrong, we actually sent out a note. Those of you who are clients, just check your WhatsApp. If I'm not wrong, I think somewhere around end of May, maybe around here, 26 or 28 of May, we got a WhatsApp that was sent out to our clients as well, because obviously we got a bullish signal that we got alerted from, right? So check your WhatsApp. If you've got in, great. These bullish signals that came out 26th of May seems to be still in play, right? All the way to now 38% in about 2 months, right? Not too bad, all right? But some of you might say, hey, 38% a lot already there. Better don't be greedy, better sell already, right? I know, because it might come all the way back down, right? Don't be greedy and stuff, right? But let's take a look at, should we be cautious, right? What's the plan we should have? Maybe what is the plan? We should take some profit or maybe get out, all right? Let's take a look, right? So you can see that it's gone up by about 38%, right? Looks good still, right? Because over the past 1 month, actually we were kept below this $4.60 resistance level. Look at this, right? We touched, we neared it, we came down, we neared it, came down for like almost like a month now. Every time we go to near 460, we always come back down. Right? I also don't know why, but you always come back down, right? You go to like 456, 457, then come back down, right? Always come back down, then go to 440, then rebound again. Right? But we were kept below that 460 psychological resistance level. But over the past few days, I think I got my team to send out a note as well on sets. We actually managed to finally break above that 460 resistance level, right? That we have been trading below for like a month, right? So we went above 460, right? But you don't go above, then come back down again, then of course not counted, not so good, right? But you go above it, you stay above it, and you consolidate above it. That is where potentially that will be what we call a new support level. So let me just change this 460 to a green, from red to a green line, because I think 460 seems like over the past 3-4 days, we have been holding above the 460, right? So now it's 468, 460. In fact, I think today it become 469. Okay, it's live, so it's like moving now. I think the low was about 465. I think some bargain hunting came back, all right, and we have started to rebound a little bit, right? So I think my take is this, right? If we can stay above 460, the uptrend remains intact. This would be what we call a new support level, right? So back to your question, Suresh, right? Can I ask whether to buy sets above 460, which I agree, right? I mean, it's pretty much at an all-time high. We have covered it in end of May. Of course, that was like about 340, 350. Of course, that was cheaper. Now it's gone up. So it's definitely higher than when we first covered it, right? But doesn't mean go high, or I mean, it's gone higher means it cannot go higher, right? Doesn't mean you get in randomly anyhow without a plan, right? You can continue to ride the upside with a plan. All right. So I think right now, a potential entry could be what we call near that $4.60 support level. So anything near 460, I'm not too sure whether you dip that much for you to buy, because it seems like, you dip a bit and people also want to buy already. I think like today, not even 460, I think 465, 468 people also want to buy, and then you start to rebound already. All right? So anything like 460 something, 467, 466, around there, I think that's where potentially some bargain hunting can come back all the way to like $4.80. I think 480. Yeah, seems like 480 is a bit of resistance. Yesterday we went to around there and then sellers came back and we retraced back down a little bit. So I think just back to some consolidation from 460 to 480. If we can stay above this 460, it still looks pretty bullish. So that could be a good entry. That could be a good entry still to ride even more upside, because you can clearly see that this bullish signal since May, 26th of May, it is still playing out. Now, let me go to turn on another very powerful feature, right? As to when then we want to be more cautious. When then we want to be, that the trend might potentially reverse. We are seeing a bit of weakness. When will that happen? Well, that is when we get what we call a rate 1 GT bearish signal, right? So if you ask me right now, I don't see any red color signal. You also don't see, right? So there's no red color bearish signal. So it still looks good, right? But if we were to see a red color bearish signal, like over here, can you see, in March, okay, like over here, let's say we see it and then you come to over, maybe you pop up over here or here or here, I don't know, right? But let's say it popped up, okay, good. That is where we might be a bit more, take some profit, get out, might not be so bullish anymore, all right? We want to take some profit and then reduce our exposure and knock in the profits. But as of today, don't have the red color one, right? So it still looks okay. It looks okay, right? So when we see a bearish signal, that could guide us to get out and take some profit. Now, what could happen is that we could also have a plan to protect our profits, right? So how do we do it? Well, very simple. I could turn on another very powerful feature called the trailing support level. You can see right over here, right? When we got bullish signals popping out in May, this green trailing support line popped out. All right, it was around $3.25 when it popped out. Now, what is this trailing support line? All right, well, essentially, this trailing support line, as the name goes, trailing support, following. Right, so it follows the price as it move up. It follows set since end of May as it move up. Right, you go up, I also follow you. Right, but you don't follow too closely. I'll give it some space to breathe a bit, to give it some allowance. We accounted for the volatility of the stock, right? But so you see, up, flat, follow, right? From $3.25 follow until now become $4.40. Does it make sense, right? Are we above that trailing support line? Well, we are still above it, obviously, right? In fact, there's still some space between it as well. So as long as we stay above this trailing support line, it still looks bullish as well as another confirmation. So what we could do is to take steps to protect our profits. We could put a stop loss kind of like below the trailing support line, all right, to take some profit to get out. If we break below it, we get a bearish signal, we want to get out, right? We want to lock in the profits, right? But if it goes even higher, it breaks 480, right? It go to $5 or $5.50 or $6, where I can tell you, this trailing support line will continue to follow it. Great. That's why we ride it even further. We protect our profits even higher. Does it make sense, Bob? All right, Ken. So that, I hope that helps Suresh, all right, about when to get in, and so when to get out as well, and also how to actually protect your profits while riding and maximize your profits in an uptrend. All right, so that would be for sets. Okay, let me pass on the mic to Bervin to cover the next Singapore stock. Bervin, yes.
All right, thanks, Joey. Okay, so next one here we go. Okay, SC. Thinking of entering OCBC, is it too high now? Okay, I think OCBC, quite a lot of people are asking about. Asher's also asking about it. OCBC bought from 25.5, 23.6, 26.3, sorry. And then recently bought at 27.21, thanks to your team. So definitely you are already a client of Joey's under Philips Securities. Thanks so much for your support. All one lot, so I assume 100 shares each, right? And then should I buy now and target $30? Right, OCBC definitely went higher over the last few weeks, right? Okay, FK is also asking about OCBC. Bought at 28.54. Okay, so this should be rather recent, should be this week, right? Dividend announcement in August. August 7 is the earnings date, right? August 7 is the earnings date. But you never know. I mean, they have a long history of dividend, but I never like to guarantee any dividend because no dividend is actually guaranteed. They have no obligation. But yes, based on pattern, we should still expect a dividend and looking to sell. All right, so notice there's a pattern here. Somebody is looking to buy. Asher has been accumulating all the way up. All right, and then now we have FK also thinking to sell. Okay, so everybody is looking at the same counter but having different intentions. All right, so let's just see where could OCBC be headed towards, or what is the current trend at least. All right, so I think since the pullback here slightly in March, when the tariff happened, OCBC have just been making new highs. All right, making new highs, breaching the $21 level. In March, end of March, we have a 1GT bullish signal showing up. All right, at the end of May, or in the middle of May, sorry, there is another 1GT bullish signal that had shown up, pushed past that $23 level, and then very, very quickly just pushed higher. And right now we are already sitting just under that $29 immediate resistance. All right, so maybe to answer your question first, Asher. So you have bought on the way up. Good, great job. It looks like you have been buying closer to a buy zone. All right, because I can place your 27, 21 very close to my buy zone that I have drawn for myself as well. Right, upwards of $27 to maybe about $27.30. So you're buying within it. Great, fantastic, and I believe you have already confirmed taken steps to protect your profits right, using the trailing support or anything like that, right? So I think, should you be buying at this point at $28.86? I think right now we are being met with a little bit of consolidation. We are in fact in a very, very near term sell zone. Right? This is where we could potentially see some profit takings come in, right? Because prices cannot be just going higher and higher and higher every day, right? You can expect some normal profit taking. It's completely normal to actually want to do some profit taking as well, right? Some small positions, you want to reduce a little bit of exposure, enjoy the profits. Great. Especially like what FK have said, announcement is coming up, earnings announcement is coming up. We do not know what the earnings will look like. All right, so that is an additional layer of uncertainty that you have to take into account as well. So I think right now, if you're looking to buy immediately at 28.86, how about we try to be a little bit more aggressive? All right, you could be going for a more aggressive play where if we break above and hold above that $29 level instead. All right, the $29 level instead, then you position yourself for entry at a new higher support. All right, otherwise, I think holding on to your existing exposure it still looks good, right? Everything, all the positions are sitting on profit. All right, same for SC. I'm not too sure if we are going to be able to have prices or OCBC dropping to that buy zone again, 27 to 27.20 for 27.30 for you to get in. But what can you do right now at this point? At least you can set up some buy alerts. All right, set up some buy alerts right here. Right click, add alert. Right, price crossing 27.30. All right, so if anything, as prices head down towards that, within that zone, you could position yourself for entry, right? So it's a window for opportunity for you to get in. Then to of course also have a plan. Why? Notice this portion right here. We did not really have much consolidation, right? How many days? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 days of movement. We broke a new higher level already. Right? A new higher level was already broken within 4 days. So not much consolidation. So if prices were to give way below the $27, we could very quickly see the next support close to that $25 level. All right. So for FK, for yourself, if you're intending to sell, you don't want to hold past the earnings announcement about 2 weeks later on the 7th of August. Hey, we are actually within that sell zone, right? We're actually within that sell zone today. Nothing wrong to reduce some exposure. But the trend wise, it definitely still looks good. 20 days moving average is pointing up, right? The 20 days moving average also just at that support level, right, we also have the 100 days, 200 days moving average that is currently pointing up. All right, that is currently still pointing up as well. And if we were to turn on that trailing support, you can see that trailing support. Let me just get rid of this. That trailing support is very close to that $27 horizontal support that I've drawn, and we still have quite a little bit of space, right? Still giving the stock a lot of breathing room, giving OCBC a lot of breathing room. So I think right now you do not have to immediately sell. All right, you don't have to immediately sell, but $28.54 was your entry price. Selling at $28.87, yeah, could bring you a little bit of a profit. But what would then your re-entry look like? Were you gonna be trying to re-enter closer to $27.30, or would you be a little bit more aggressive to get in above that $29? And then similarly to what Asher is doing, he's targeting for the next $30 psychological level. All right, so all these are different plans, all right? For different people, there are different plans, different intentions, there are different plans. So you always have to set out your intention very clearly, and then subsequently your plan will be a lot clearer as well. All right, so that is for OCBC. All right, that is for OCBC. If you want to lock up some profits, have some levels to take profits, protect your upside because you already have, or protect your profits because you already have seen quite a big move for OCBC. But definitely the trend still shows that it still looks good. It could be potentially be heading higher if the earnings results continue to show good, right? Show good data, show good for forecast, whether the loans, the loan income, the interest margins have increased or not. We will see in the next couple of weeks. All right, so that is for OCBC. Passing the time now to Z to actually cover the next stock.
All right, thanks, Bervin. Okay, so the next one that I have over here, a bit similar, but not exactly the same. Okay, let me share my screen, and that will be by Shiba. Matthew, right? UOB Hian, U10. Okay, short-term, long-term uptrend, looking at a deep trade at resistance of 412 for a breakout at 436, stop loss at 403. Please advise. What? Actually, Shiba even provided us your trading plan. That's very good, right? I mean, so those of you guys, I mean, if you would like us to look at your trading plan as well, I think this is something that maybe you can also follow Shiba, right? If you have a trading plan in place and you like a quick opinion, I think that's fine, right? So let's take a look at UOB Hian together. All right. So for UOB Hian, I think definitely agreeing with what Shiva said, right? Short term up, long term up. Wow, very good. You already know how to spot the short term and long term, right? The moving averages, everything is pointing up. Great, right? Because I think that's the very first criteria that we want to see to make sure that we are aligning with both long term and short term trend, right? Because we want to buy into strength. We want to buy and to make sure that we are aligned with the trend, right? So that trend out of the way, right? Definitely looking good. We have 1 GT bullish signal that is also still playing out, right? Not one, but two. So also good, right? Also good. Then, of course, the next thing that we want to look for would be support and resistance, right? Because that is then will give us insight into potentially where are the potential buy zone, where are the sell zone. Then it can help us to formulate a trading plan, right? So for UOB Hian, right over here, right, you can really see, so I play cheat a bit. I already draw everything so that you guys can see very clearly what did I draw, right? Maybe some of you guys, or maybe even Shiba, you might have drawn the same thing as me, right? So a very clear support, I would say, would be at this 360, right? And this would be what we call a support zone, because previously prices break above this level, went up to about $4, selling pressure came in right here at around 360 to 370. Buyers came in to rebound, right? Push the price back up, right? Again, happened somewhere here in middle of June. Again, happened somewhere here at the start of July, right? So this 360 zone, you can see multiple times buyers actually return to support the prices and push it back up. So it is pretty clear that here is what we will call a support zone, right? Then resistance also quite clear, right? You can see around this $4.40, right? This maybe 430 to 440. This was where selling pressure comes back, right? Every time it approaches this 440, sellers came in, pushed the price back down to the support that we've just talked about, right? And again, this time, I think not too long ago, right? A couple of weeks back at the start of July, same thing happened. Price went up to test the 440, selling pressure came in. But what's different this time around, right, is you see that over the past week, price came down, right? But did it go back all the way to the 360? No, right? It never, right? You see that it started to, the price action, right? The candlestick started to stabilize a little bit, right? And potentially what we could be seeing is that perhaps there could be a new higher support that's being found where? Perhaps near this $4, right? $4 psychological level, right? And did price even go to the $4? It didn't, right? It didn't. But $4 could be a potential new higher psychological support from the 360 because price didn't go down to 360. Now buyers came in willing to step in to buy at higher prices. No longer at 360, but around this $4.10, $4.09, this zone right over here. Right? So could this be a new, potentially new higher support zone? Yeah, it could look like, right, over the past week, it has been staying above it, right? So I think that's the key thing that perhaps Shiba, if you're thinking about having a trading plan in place for this counter, I think perhaps the immediate support that you could be looking out for could be around the $4, right? Around the $4. Okay. And in terms of resistance, I mean, the target, right, it will remain the same because it has not broken out above this 440 yet. So now you know support zone, resistance zone, that is where you can already formulate your trading plan in terms of entry and exit, right? And in terms of stop loss, right? In terms of stop loss, perhaps because you are saying that stop loss at below $4, 4.03, right? And $4, like I mentioned, psychological level, right? So sometimes what people might usually place their stop loss, right, is placed below a support rather than above a support. Because if you place above a support, right, could there be situation whereby price go down, right, to maybe 403 and then rebound? It could be, right, because support zone is usually like what we have seen here. Buyers came in to support the price. So that's the reason why in terms of stop loss, typically you'll be better to place it slightly below a support zone or a support level, right, to give it a bit more allowance and space lah. All right, and in terms of the upside target, right, so you are saying that breakout at 4.36. So you can see the resistance, right, we have drawn. The zone could be maybe about 430 to 440, right over here where seller previously came in, right? So if prices were to head up to this $4.40, I mean, of course, you want to take some profits near the resistance zone, nothing wrong lah, right? Because why? Short term up, long term also up. But what happens if price break and hold above this 440? Then that is where potentially the next upside target could be drawn, right? How? Project it up. So you can see, right, here is about 360 to $4.40 range. Here, also about 40 cents range. If you project it up from this 440, next potential upside target, where could it be? Potentially, could be looking towards this 480 if price is able to breach and hold firmly above this 440, turning it to become a new higher resistance, higher support, sorry, not resistance, higher support, from resistance, turning it to become a new higher support at the 440, right? And if that happens, right, then potentially you might see more upside and strength coming back and heading up towards the next potential upside target around this 480 based on the projection range, right? But of course, at the end of the day, do think about your risk to reward as well, your position sizing, your risk appetite, because I'm not too sure how big of a position are you intending to buy as well. So those are the things that you got to look out for. But I hope that with these, right, and some of the levels that we have just explained earlier in terms of support, resistance, and the support zone, resistance zones, that would help you to give you something to think about to formulate your trading plan based on your risk appetite. Okay, so I hope that helps, Shiba. With that, I think back over to you, Joey, to cover the next Singapore stock.
All right, thank you so much. Let's move on to the next one. Okay, and that would be asked by Sherry. Sherry, I hope you're still over here, right? Now, this stock is none other than Sembcorp. All right, Sembcorp Industry. The code is U96, right? So, hi Joey, can you share how low will Sembcorp price drop to? How low? Okay, I bought 5 lots at $5.65. So now it's $5.27. Okay, came down a bit lah. Thinking of adding more, but would like to wait for it to be near the bottom before buying more. Okay, so basically how low can it drop to lah, right? And if it drop until somewhere near the bottom, then hopefully can tell you, then you can buy right at the bottom, right? Then the price, the stock will check if you confirm bottom, then you'll hopefully rebound back up, right? Hopefully that will happen, right? Okay, let's go to find out, Sherry, like what could be, okay, so one thing about the market is, or stock is such, is this, guys, nobody is able to predict like how low will the price go to, right? Like, oh, it will go to, $5 or $4.50 by when and when. Nobody will be able to predict that, right? But from the chart, what we can tell would be potential support level, whereby, if we do hit there, some bargain hunting can come back again, right? So just to clarify that, I know nobody will be able to know how low it will go on, all right? There's no such thing as predicting the ultimate bottom or the ultimate top. Nobody will be able to do that, right? But what we can do is try to get an idea of where could some bargain hunting, some buying pressure comes back. Okay, let's take a look at Sembcorp industry right now. So you got in at $5.65. So right over here, right? I'm not too sure. I mean, this is where it was like, if you're still over here, let me know, Sherry, is it like you got in like just a few weeks back, or like you got in March? Because in March also, that one is good. That one, let's say you got in March, then 565, that will be good. That's when you can see started to see a bit of reversal. Okay, now let me go to turn on the bullish and bearish signals from the One Good Trend Pro indicator very quickly. Pump. So you can see, if you have got it in March, not too bad. We got two bullish signals popping up. We got in right over here, 565, all the way to $7. All right, and then we got bearish signal, it starts coming down. All right, but if you tell me you get in like last week, then by right should not have got in, right? Because you can see that we actually got what we call a 1 GT bearish signal. All right, in fact, another one came out earlier, right? Second one, it went out even more, right? So we must know when not to get in as well, right? Especially if you get a bearish signal. And if you look at the short-term trend, the green line, obviously it was like flat and then like down. Now still down also, right? So the short-term trend is down. The bearish signal is down. I think we could potentially still see more weakness. We are not out of the woods yet. We're not out of the woods yet, right? So back to your question, right? Okay, by right, you should not have got in. Okay, but you got in, never mind, right? You need to have a plan to, by right, get out, reduce exposure. You don't want to hold all the way down, okay? So you're thinking of adding more. Okay? So just to be clear, if there's bearish signal, it breaks the support, it's going down, the short-term trend is down. By right, our mentality should be, to get out first, to reduce exposure, right? Wait for some stability, wait for maybe some signs of a reversal, then we get it, right? We should not be like, oh, thinking of adding more, go down and buy some more, go down, buy some more, right? 526, go and buy. 515, buy some more. $5, buy some more, right? Go down, buy until, you're just like throwing a lot of money away, right? So we don't want to do that until we get confirmation that it's strong, all right? Then we get it, right? So I think right now, I think you want to be a bit more careful, because over the past few weeks, right, we have actually broken this very key support level. I think that this level is the, oh, no wonder, 550, right? You can see 550 is a very good support level that we have been holding above since February, March. Look at this, right? We're right over here, 550, rebounded back up, and we got bullish signal. So 550 will be what we call a very key psychological support that we've been holding above for more than, I would say, almost a year, all right? Almost a year, we are above it. But I don't know why over the past few days, we went below 550. Does it make sense, Bob? All right. I mean, now it's 526, right? So it's still below 550, correct? So it's a bit shaky, It's a bit shaky because this 550, by right, we know if you hold above it, and then you consolidate above, you see some bullish candlestick there. Okay, fine. Maybe got chance to, potentially, see a reversal, back up like what we have seen in March, okay? But no, over the past few weeks, all right, past 1 week, we actually went below the 550. So just look a bit more bearish, all right? Potential downside. Okay, so back to your question, how low can we potentially go? Right? I have no idea exactly how low it'll go, but what I can tell you would be certain support levels where we have seen bargain hunting coming back. So I think $5 right over here, that was where we rebounded 1, 2, 3 times, right, in 2025, all right, last year, all right, after $5, it could be even to 470, right? 470 was where we also held above 470, $5. That would be potential support zones based on the past prices, right? But as I say, doesn't mean we go to $5 means we'll surely rebound. Doesn't mean we go to 470 because I draw the line, that means you'll surely rebound. No, right? Doesn't mean that's the low zone, okay? That is just a potential zone whereby if we do hit there, if we see some stability, we see some signs of reversal, maybe a new bullish signal popping up, like you see this bullish signal, right? If it pops up right over in these zones, and we see the green line that obviously is still pointing down right now, all right? Maybe stop pointing down and maybe like flatten out a bit, all right, over here or maybe over here, doesn't matter, okay? that is where that could really be the potential bottom or potential support coming out, and buyers could come back over there, right? And that's where maybe you could think about getting in, right? But other than that, if it breaks the support, go lower, the green line go lower even more, then we don't want to rush to buy lah. That makes sense, one. All right, Ken. So our mindset should be to get out, to reduce exposure. It's not so strong anymore. All right, and then wait for clarity, wait for confirmations of the reversal, then we get in. You see what I'm saying, Sabah? All right, Ken. I hope that helps, Sherry. All right, I hope that helps for Sembcorp industry. All right, there's no clear signs of a bottom yet. It still looks weak below the $5.50 right now. Okay, Ken. So that is for Sembcorp industry. And I want to share one thing as well, guys. Those of you who are still over here, essentially, just last night I checked with my team. Actually, we sent out a few email to our email list. So those of you who are my email list, we actually sent out an email to our clients, our even to the public as well. All right, for those who have not got this book. So this is the One Good Trend Secrets book. We actually got secured a few physical copies, right? We just got some printed, right? Less than 50 over copies, right? So the link is right in the chat. I just thought about it. Yeah, last night we sent out email, so why not let you guys know in case you have not got this One Good Trend Secrets book. This is a book that we launched last year. All right, it sold out in a live launch which we did for 6 hours. We had more than 2,000 copies sold already. All right, there's no other copies, but there was like 50 copies that we kind of just got it printed. Okay, and we thought just to do a quick relaunch again in case you have not got the book, right? So the book, the link is right in chat. Go to get a copy of the One Good Trend Secrets book, right? It's pretty much free, right? Just pay for printing and postage, $19.95. All right, I pretty much send the book to you anywhere in Singapore, right? So just pay for the content, everything inside is free now. I just need your help to help me with the printing and the postage, and that would be it. All right, so get a copy, One Good Trend Secrets, before it gets sold out again, guys. We just launched, just sent out a link last night by email. I thought let's let you guys know. Okay, so that is the book, right? More than almost more than 200 over pages, right, of value right over here, colored printed. Check it out, guys. One Good Trend Secrets. Okay, so that will be Sembcorp industry. All right, let me pass on the mic to Bervin to cover the next Singapore stock. Bervin?
All right, thanks, Joey. All right, so those of you who want to actually get the book, the link is right in the chat. We were debating very, very hard on whether we should say get the book here, because honestly, 50 copies, that's last night lah. I haven't checked the Google sheet this morning. Maybe even lesser. And every time we try to reprint the book, I think Joey also is very clear about this lah. It's actually quite hard to get a publisher to print a book for you. Yeah, it's actually quite hard to get them to do it, and they always only want to do a small batch. Too many orders. Okay, so if you guys
get a copy before it gets sold out
yeah.
again, guys, get a copy before it gets sold out again. All right, we might not be launching in the next 3, 4, 5 months. All right, only when we have spare copies lah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so here we go. Okay, Tyler, hi, welcome back. How are you? Okay, so China Aviation Oil. All right, China Aviation Oil. So 20% of it. Okay, good. So 20% of it 3-4 months ago at 205. Can buy back now. Average cost price about 0.88. Okay, let me just change up the chart first. Okay, so you sold at about 3-4 months ago. Great. You sold at a sell zone, right? I assume lah. Right, 205, right above this level. I mean, just draw the line for you right there. All right, 1220 was that key resistance level 2-3 months ago. So at about 205, good. Take some profits, enjoy it. Congratulations. Looking to buy back now. Okay, so right now you're still sitting on some profits first, right? For those that you have bought at 0.88. Maybe we address that one first. All right, because why? First thing that jumps out to me is that when you say you have a position, we are currently sitting on 2-1 GT bearish signal, Tyler. So be a little bit careful. One, maybe okay, we still hold above the key support level 190, not too bad. A little bit like ST engineering, maybe we ting tong up down a bit. Okay, but now we have 2-1 GT bearish signal 1, 2. The most recent one showed up on the 8th of July. All right, the most recent one showed up on the 8th of July, and then we had the 100 days and 200 days moving average actually sloping down. Started to slope down already. And I noticed that 20 days moving average already crossing below, trying to cross below that 200 days moving average. So not too good. So maybe you want to also take some steps, take some steps to actually protect some of your profits that you have actually accumulated since you bought it at 0.88. Why? Where is that immediate support? I would say the immediate support right here. Oh, accidentally draw a line there. Right here. All right, prices previously actually consolidated close to this 160 level. Right, 160 level most recently rebounded from that level again. So if this level is broken, you may see that downside or that further weakness towards 140 first. So nothing wrong to actually think about buying back when you sell. Actually, that's a very good mentality. But we don't want to buy back when there is weakness, that the longer term trend really starting to change, and then you're still holding on to existing positions that you have some profit on. Don't erode those profits just to get more position, more exposure into a weaker counter. All right. So as a matter of fact, even if you ask me if I want to buy it or if I should be looking at this now, maybe not just yet. Maybe not just yet. Wait for some reversal plays to come in. All right. So you have no problem selling higher. That means you got no problem going back to go and buy higher. So if the prices are able to come back, recapture what level we want to look at, we want to recapture that 180 level, right? Then we see that 20 days moving average, maybe even rebounding from that 200 days moving average above that 180 level. That 100 days moving average will start to flatten out. Definitely, that's how it works, right? Then if you want to consider get back in, I say, hey, yeah, maybe not too bad to actually come back in, look at it once again, if maybe not too much weakness already, and look at it, that trailing resistance is also right around that 185 level right now. So Styler, I think maybe now we take some steps, we protect your profit, the 0.88 average cost price, we lock in some profits. If it drops below 160, maybe that's what you want to consider as a plan. Get back in or consider to get back in when we recapture that 180 level. We can ride that upside towards that 220 level once again if that trend changes. Because why? 2-1 GT bearish signal, not really very compelling for me to actually say, oh, maybe it's time to get back in. You can get back into actually increase the exposure. No, not at this point. All right, so that is for China Aviation Oil. Hopefully that helps you. All right, pass the time now to Z to actually cover the next requested stock. Z?
Thanks, Irvin. Okay, so the next one that I have here will be by CJ, right? CJ, I hope you're still here. Hi, bought IX Biopharma at 0.405. Should I cut loss or hold for more upside? Okay, so let's take a look at this together, all right? So how many people do we have here today? About now got 260 plus. Okay, 260 plus of you here today, right? So maybe you guys, let's do this together, right? And maybe a bit more interactive lah. So maybe you can help me and also CJ out. In terms of IX Biopharma, we go step by step. We talk about long-term trend first. Long-term trend, right? What do you guys think about the long-term trend? Up, down, sideways. Maybe let me know lah. U for up, D for down, S for sideways. Pretty simple. What do you guys think about the long-term trend for IX Biopharma? Let me know. Brandon up. Okay. Brandon says U for up. Prof say U for up also. Okay, U for up. So far up. Energize, smooth also up. ABC also up. Okay, so long-term trend pretty clear lah. I hope nobody says down because red and blue is clearly pointing up, right? It's pointing up. Then now we move on to the short term, right? Short term, which is green. What do you guys think of the green? Do you think is U for up, D for down, or S for sideways? Let's see. Short-term trend. So now we focus on the green line over here. Do you think is up, down, or sideways? Let's see. ABC. Sideways, right? Consolidating. Energize mode, side. Okay. Brandon say F. I don't know why it's F. It's up, down, or sideways. Maybe typo lah, Maybe S and F side by side. Typo, right? ABC sideways, Victor sideways. Okay, so short term, I would say majority of you would think that is sideways, which I also agree, right? Short term, I think now definitely sideways, right? So let me just pull out the chat again by CJ, right? So CJ bought IX Biopharma at 0.405. Now price is trading at about 0.39, 39 cents lah, right? So slightly below your average entry price lah. So a bit of small loss, right? Sitting on a bit of small loss right over here, right? But what we have established with 260 over you guys of you here, right, is that longer term is up, short term seems to be heading in a sideways fashion, right? And if we look at the price action, just the chart on its own, right, you can see that since actually April, all the way to where we are at now, even the price action is telling us that it seems to be just consolidating, right? You can see that it's within a range, it's bounded within a range. And what would that range be, right? And that range, right, you can see right over here, I've already drawn my support and resistance, right? I think it will be somewhere around this 320, 325. This would be what we call a support zone, right, over here, right? And the resistance, maybe about 440 to 450, somewhere here, some of you guys would draw your resistance here, and this would be a resistance zone, right? And you can see every time price go to resistance, selling pressure come down, right? Go resistance, selling pressure come down. Buyers come in at support, resistance, selling pressure come down, right? It just goes like that for at least 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 4 months sideways, right? But longer term is still up, right? So longer term, not too much to worry, right? So then this is where CJ asked this question: shall I cut loss or hold for more upside, right? So in terms of upside based on price right now, right, where would the immediate upside be? It will be towards the resistance near the 450, right? Because that was where previously every time approach this 450, this resistance zone, selling pressure come back in, right? So that is where maybe CJ, you might want to consider to set some price alert near this sell zone, right? When it hits out to this sell zone, is it okay for you to take some profits? I think definitely nothing wrong, right? You want to take full profits, partial profits, perfectly fine, right? But then comes the question is, what if it doesn't go up, right? It just goes sideways, then go even lower. Then how? Should you think about cutting loss, right? That is where the question comes in, and that is where you need to think about managing your downside risk, right? But where would that level be, right? But I would say that level, right, perhaps what you can think of would be maybe setting some price alert slightly below the 32 cents, right? The 32 cents whereby previously can see here was where buyers came in. If prices is unable to hold above these 32 cents and it breaks below, this 32 cents will essentially become what? A resistance, right? And what does that tell you? It just tells you that the buyers no longer willing to buy at 32 cents already, right? The bears are taking control, right? And when that actually happens, potential downside, where could we be looking towards? You could be looking towards the next support zone around maybe the 16 cents. But I'm not saying that the price will go all the way to 16 cents. But what I'm saying that if the support doesn't hold, there could be more selling pressure returning, whereby prices could potentially be pushed towards the 16 cents if the bears are taking control. Okay, so at this point in time, does it still look okay? Definitely it still looks okay. You don't have to panic too much because longer term trend looks okay. Short term trend, at least it is not pointing down. It's not pointing down. It's just going sideways, and now it's starting to show signs of it pointing up, right? Pointing up. So potentially maybe some short term strength returning, and if it hits back up to the 450, have a plan in place. What are you gonna do? If it doesn't and it goes down, then what are you gonna do? Where should your stop loss be? Okay, so have a plan in place whereby if price go up, do what? Price go down, do what? So that you wouldn't be stuck and you wouldn't feel like you don't really know what to do. Okay, so have price alerts being set at perhaps these two levels. Take note of the levels, and if price is able to break and hold above the 450, then that is where we can use a projection method to project it up, right, based on the range that it was trading. So perhaps towards the 560, 570, that could be the next potential upside target, only if price is able to break and hold above the 45 cents. But step by step, now not there yet, right? Not there yet. Okay, so that would be for IX Biopharma. I hope, CJ, I hope that helps to give you some of the levels to think about. Okay, so back over to you, Joey.
All right. Okay. Thanks, Z. Let's move on to the next one. Okay, and that would be on this stock, quite a popular stock called SIA, Singapore Airlines. That's asked by May Kwan. Okay, thanks for giving us a bit of context, May. You bought SIA at $7.20. Now it's $7.53. Right? Okay, good. At least you're making some money now. So you bought $7.20. Question: should I sell or wait for it to break $8. Wow, $8. Okay, good. So should you sell some or wait for it to break $8? Okay, let's take a look at SIA right now. What has happened over the past few months. So you can see that for SIA, I mean, we actually saw quite a good reversal. One of the stocks that we also shared with our clients in Philips Securities by WhatsApp. Those of you who are clients, check your WhatsApp. I think since like end of May, early of June, we got 2 bullish signals. You see, right? I mean, of course, when the US-Iran war started in March, oil prices spiked up. And, you know, for airlines company, right, jet fuel accounts for more than 20-30% of their expenses. So if oil prices go up a lot, it will affect the airlines, all right? It will affect their margins. That's why, you know, we got bearish signals popping out since March, and it sold down, right, from 720 all the way to 620, okay? But when bullish signals appeared in end of May, early June, we sent out a note to our clients as well. We got alerted to these signals. It went all the way up to, I would say, about right now, $7.53. So if you ask me right now, I think you got in at 720, so maybe slightly higher, all right? It's still okay. I mean, slightly higher. Of course, you've got in over here, 660, 670, better lah, huh? But never mind. You got in at 720, all right? So that would be what we call a more aggressive entry on a break above that 720 resistance level. Because 720 was actually a very key resistance. You know, we touched somewhere in February and came all the way down. But when we go above it, not too bad, right? It's an aggressive entry. You can see we started to push all the way up to 780 to 790. All right. Okay. So what can you potentially do right now, right? Should you wait? Should you take some profit? Should you sell? Let's find out. So I would say right now for SIA, we are in a bit of what we call a consolidation. All right. You can see that the green line, so the bullish signals are still here. No issue, right? Bullish signals are still playing out. I mean, there's no red color bearish signal out yet lah. So still okay. At least it's not like bearish or going down and then the trend has turned down, right? It's still okay. Right? The bullish signals are still playing out, but the short-term trend, you can clearly see that the green line, there was like up since May, June. Right now, a bit flattening out, right? You can see it is a bit sideways. So we have gone into what we call a uptrend in the short term to a consolidation in the short term, right? And if it consolidates, what would be the support level and what would be the resistance level? Let's go ahead to draw that for you right over here. I think this resistance probably somewhere around like 790. It seems like we hit it to near 790. In fact, 780 to 790. That could be where selling pressure could come back again, right? We hit it there a couple of times and we sold off. So what you could do, right? Is that because you're sitting on profits, right? What you could do is that once it turns into a consolidation phase, like what Z has mentioned, right? For IX Biopharma, right? Now, nothing wrong to take some profit near a resistance because that's where sellers can come back again, all right? So nothing wrong. So your mindset should see like, hey, because it's consolidating, right? It's not like as if like it's breaking 780 or 790 or breaking $8 to go to $9 or $10, right? Well, then we continue riding lah. Oh, but no, right? It seems like 780 to 790, some selling have came back, back to a consolidation phase. So you could take some profit near that resistance level, right? Or what you could do as well is that you want to watch certain support level. Like for now, I think 750, right? Yeah, it seems like 750 over the past 1 month, right? Seems like we've rebounded from 750. Here also got a pretty bullish, right? Hammer candlestick popping up right over here, rebounded. Now it's 753. So we are still above that 750 lah. Thankfully, right? We're still above 750. So that could be what we call a potential entry zone as well, because we have, rebounded over the past 1 month near it, right? So that is what we call a horizontal support level, right? Probably don't want to sell right away because you can see that, that is a zone whereby, yes, rebounded. So if you sell near the support, then like, after you rebound from support, then you say, yeah, wasted lah, right? Because we have been moving up and down, all right? Potential, rebound from this horizontal support level, right? So I would say that's where some bargain hunting can actually come back again. So I think if you want to sell, take some profit near that 780 to 790, all right? But what you want to take note of as well is this trailing support level. As I say, there is no bearish signal. There's no bearish signal right now, okay? If I can quickly turn on the very powerful feature that I call the trailing support level right over here, let's turn it on. You can see that this trailing support followed SIA since May, right? Up, flat, follow, right? And it is right over here at 740, right? So slightly below 750. Can you see, right? Why is it below 750? Why? Because as I say, the trailing support give it the space, right? So got a bit of space lah. correct? So it's slightly below the horizontal support level, right? So as long as we stay above 740, it is still okay. We have given it enough space. We have given it enough space. But just take note, if the 740 trailing support were to give way, we get a bearish signal popping out, and then this green line, really start to let that point down, and then different story lah. That is where it will not be consolidating sideways. It will be a bit of weakness in the short term. We could potentially push even lower. Does it make sense, right? So you must know some of the key levels to take note of. You must know what are the confirmations that, if we do see a bearish signal, the short-term trend is down, well, that's where you want to have a stop loss to get out, right? You're still making profits, right? Get out. Don't hold all the way down until your profits also become no more lah. Make sense? All right, Ken? So hopefully that does not happen. If it doesn't happen, good. Rebounds back to 780 to 790. That could be a zone to lock in some profits as well. Cool, May. I hope that helps. That would be for Singapore Airlines. Bavin, back to you for the next Singapore stock.
All right, thanks, Joey. Okay, so maybe before I cover the next stock, actually, I'd just like to do a quick run through because I saw there's quite a little bit of questions on the same stock. All right, so we're not going to run through them again, but not to worry, of course, the replay will definitely be available once this entire live stream ends, right, on YouTube. Just check it out. Here are the stocks that we actually covered. I mean, Joey started off with the S&P 500, followed by the Straits Times Index, and then first requested stock, Cheong. All right, then after that, ST Engineering, Frencken, SETS, OCBC Bank, Z covered UOB Hian. All right, then Sembcorp Industry, I covered China Aviation, Oil, and then Singapore Airlines, right? Okay, so what is the next stock? Okay, so I saw that Raka here, all right, have just asked about this. All right, so okay, sorry, not just asked about this, asked about it at 11 o'clock. Hopefully, Raka, you still here with us this morning or this afternoon. I bought the bonus stock Boustead at 2.26, but have since went into a downtrend. Good to hold for dividends or add more to average down. Okay, thanks for giving us that context. Here we have Boustead. All right, Boustead, you have bought about 2.26. Let me just see. 2.26. Not too sure if you bought it at the end of May, but unlikely it's just came down. More likely you have bought it sometime in April, right? When the trend was still looking good. All right, when the trend was still looking good. Right there where you actually got in when maybe you saw the 1GT bullish signals. All right, 1GT bullish signals, and then but most recently when we had earnings released, right? The earnings released, we had a 1GT bearish signal on that same day. Right, 1GT bearish signal on that same day. Prices very quickly broke through that $2.30. 2.30. That support gave way, turned into a resistance once again. All right, I think someone just highlighted to me that, oh yeah, right, we have also covered IX Biopharma just before Singapore Airlines. Sorry, I missed that out. I skipped one right there. All right, but coming back to it again, Boustead right here. Right now, we are trading at around that $2.08 level, right? Relatively closer to that 200 days moving average. That psychological support of about $2 is still holding up. And Raka is thinking if should hold for some dividends or to average down. All right, here's the thing about holding for dividends. On the dividend X date, you tend to see the prices adjust by roughly the dividend price, approximately on a usual basis. Will adjust by the dividend price, usually adjust down, not adjust up. Okay, so if you are thinking of holding for more dividends, you're actually basically just pulling your own funds out as form of dividends. Not too good when the share prices are actually heading lower. Right? Not too good when the share prices are actually heading lower. So that is maybe not the best plan to do now, especially, right? I know you're seeing that dividends actually coming up, right, about 8 cents on the 7th of August. So you may see an adjustment by about 8 cents. And then if that happens, you may see further weakness because many people will have the same thoughts as you, right? Once take dividend, okay, don't need no more dividend, already sell. And then prices start to head lower. So that's not what you want to be part of as well. All right, adding more leading up to dividends as well. I mean, the whole analogy stays the same. Just pulling out your own funds as dividend. So you do not want that, all right, especially when the trend is weak or weaker in the nearer sense. All right, fortunately in the nearer term, we start to see that 20 days moving average start to slope up again. Good, but we're still currently under the 100 days moving average, which is currently pointing down. Right, previously it was flattening out a little bit, pointing up, flatten, it started to come down already. So that's not a good sign. All right, that's not a good sign that the longer term trend may be reversing into a downtrend as well. All right, but we have higher lows being formed across the past few months as well. That is also a good sign that, so there's a lot of conflicting signals at this point. So definitely, I will not say to rush in to average down just yet, but rather you want to take note of those key levels. Right, we have the psychological $2 level as the key level right now. The next support right around that $1.70, maybe upwards to about that 175, we can draw a support zone. Right, the immediate resistance remains at about the $2.30 level right now. All right, that was where previously was a support turn to a resistance, higher target level. If we recapture the $2.30, we breach that level, could be drawn towards that 260 high first. All right, so right now, if I were to turn on that trailing support and resistance, we will have a trailing resistance currently at about that $2.20 level. So if we were to break above that 220, break up above 230, definitely that is a good sign. Maybe you can even continue to hold on to your position, take some profits closer to that 260 level. But right now, I think you are a little bit stuck, right? You're a little bit stuck. But have a plan, right? If it breaks below that $2 level, definitely you'll start to see that even the 100 days moving average start to slope downwards even more. Maybe even the 200 days moving average start to flatten out if we are prolonged under the under that $2 level. So I think not too good to average down right now, but I think it's still okay to hold on as long as we hold above that $2 level. Let's see if we can recapture $2.30. Set some alerts at $2.30 also, just to get yourself alerted that we could be heading back towards close to a break-even price and see if we can hit even further. All right, Raka, I think that is for Boustead. I'll pass the time now to Z to cover the next stock. Z?
Thank you, Bavin. Okay, so the next stock that I have here would be by Xiaoha, right? I hope you are still here. Hi, can analyze CSE Global. I bought at $1.60. Should I sell or hold? Right, so now price for CSE Global is trading at about 1.22, so definitely sitting on losses are from 160 to 1.22 now, down by about 20% lah. Okay, so let's talk about CSE Global together. All right, so for CSE Global, you say that you bought 160, right? So I hope that when you bought 160, you bought maybe, I don't know, before here lah, not here lah, because here it is when prices started to head down. There's a bearish signal, if you have bought here, if you have bought before, right, that means when we are having a 1GD bullish signal, long-term, short-term trends, all still looks pretty okay, then maybe you might feel a bit sayang because, price go up to 180, not one time, but two times, never take profit, then now come all the way down. So it become a situation whereby previously was in the green and now suddenly become a red. And usually that is what happens when we don't take active steps, right, to manage the downside and to protect profits. So that's usually sometimes what will happen. Trend can reverse. It doesn't mean that it goes up, it will always go up, right? It can also reverse, and when it reverse, the green can become the red, and that's not what we want to do lah. So usually what we want to do is to take active steps to manage the capital, right, to protect your capital, and also to make sure that if you're sitting in profits, to make sure to take some steps to protect your profits. All right, so by right, if you have bought 160 somewhere here when the 1GD bullish signal is still playing out, red, green, and blue line, everything is still pointing up, right? By right, you should have a plan in place whereby the entry price is what, right? That one is easy because you buy already, that's your entry price. Your exit price would be to be placing near a resistance, right? Which is near the 180 lah, right over here. But that's the exit price. But also, there should also be a stop loss price when you enter, right? Because the whole purpose of the stop loss is to make sure to manage your downside if the price were to suddenly reverse, right? And the stop loss, by right, here, if you have got out, it will be much better lah. Because why? If you have placed your stop loss slightly below, let's say what we call a support zone, it could be below this $1.40, right? Because this 140 previously, when May to June, prices was trading at around 150 to 180, right? This 140 is actually what we call a support, right? Previously, from February all the way to May, this period here, it was actually a resistance, turned into a support for about 1 month, right? And it break below the support, and then down it went, right? It did try to break above it, right here, right? I think for about 1 week in late June, right? But it did not manage to successfully break and hold above it, because if you take a look at it, right, short term, it is still pointing down. Since June all the way to now, it has been 2 months. Short term green line, it is still pointing down, right? And longer term trend, if you look at the red and the blue line, the red line has started, it was going up, it has started to flatten out. If price continue to head lower, right, very, very likely this red line will also start to show signs of weakness, and it will also start to point out, right? So the thing is that you bought 160, right? But right here, if you have gotten out, right, when you have a stop loss plan in place, you probably could have saved here to here, right? Another 10% downside, right? But no choice. I mean, now this is where we are. You're still holding on to a stock, right? So the next thing to do is to make sure to take note of the other support level, because if the other support level right over here, you can see, right, around this, maybe some would draw 110, some would draw about 115. I would say that as long as this support level, right over here, let me draw this green box for you to see. If this support level is actually broken, do you think that there will be more weakness returning back to this counter? Definitely, right? If this support level is broken, because this has been holding since at the start of 2026. If this level is broken, potentially where could we be seeing price heading towards? The next support level could be around these 90 cents right over here, right? You can see from November, December, this period was a support, right? This could be the next support level, right? So now the key thing is, if price is unable to hold above this $1.10, what would your plan then be, right? Are you still going to continue holding on to this stock and unrealized the losses get bigger and bigger? Usually, we try not to, because we don't want that situation to happen to us whereby your losses get bigger and bigger because you don't want to cut loss. You don't want to take any actions, right? So we always need to have a plan in place. If prices were to break below a support, then that is when we got to think about, okay, maybe it is time for me to actually let go some of the stock to reduce my exposure so that I don't keep holding on to unrealized losses, right? So that is something that perhaps you want to be a bit mindful of, right? In terms of the immediate support level around this 110 to 150, this support zone right here, right? And if we got another 1 GT bearish signal coming out, then, I mean, not 1, but 1, 2, 3, then you already know definitely there is more selling pressure returning. And if the 20 days moving average continue to boil down, 100 days also start to show like that, then you also know already, right? There are certain steps that you want to do rather than ignoring it, not taking any action at all, because if it breaks support and consistently breaks support, could it head back to a downtrend reversal? Very likely it could be, and we don't want to hold on to a losing or downtrending stock, okay? So, Xiaoha, I hope that gives you something to think about, right? In terms of your stop loss plan, where would you potentially think about reducing exposure? Because at the end of the day, I don't know what position size you bought. I don't know what's your risk appetite and whether do you do any position sizing, right? But at this point in time, support looks to be around this 110, 115, this support zone here. Maybe set a price alert, right, to monitor this key support zone, okay? So that would be for CSE Global. Passing the time back over to Joey to cover the next Singapore stock.
All right, thank you so much. Let's move on to the next one. Okay, I think we have covered a total of 12 stocks already. I think we can do just one more round. We can just do one more round, right? One more quick round, and then we go on to the next segment, guys, which will be the bonus stocks that me and my team want to share with you, right? So just take note, guys. I see that some of you actually typed some of the names, right? And actually, some of the names that you type is actually one of our bonus stocks that we want to share. So we will not cover it, right? We'll not cover it because later at the end we'll cover again, right? So yours might actually be the bonus stock if we actually purposely never cover it. Okay, Ken? So stay all the way to the end if you want to find out what are the 3 top Singapore stocks bonus stocks that we have in our watch list for potentially even more upside. Okay, now let's move on to the next one, and that would be asked by let's see who is asking about this. I think a few of you are asking about this, but let me just go to pull out one of the comments. Jenny Thai, right? Good morning all. AEM has fallen below $9. Is it a buy? All right. So I think based on this question, I think you're looking to buy. All right. So I assume that you don't have it. Okay. Let me see if I can find a few other AEM. Right. I think some of the tech stocks as well. Asking about AEM. Right over here as well, Hian. Good morning, Joey Z and Bervin. I sold AEM at an average price of $9. Right. You bought 460. Wow. Bought 460. You sold at $9. Good. Make money already. Right. Now not holding any positions. Nice. Okay. So you got in 460, you sold at $9. Okay, Ken. When is a good time to get in? Okay, so you bought, you sold, you make money already lah. But now should get in again, right? Because you scared you sell it after go all the way up, right? So when should be a good time to get in? Very good question, right? Same like Jenny as well, looking to get back in. Let me see if I can find any more on AEM. I think quite a few, but okay, there's like more than 50, 60 over stocks out there. Thank you so much, guys, for typing, right? But I cannot find it, but never mind. Okay, but those of you who are looking at AEM, let me go ahead to look at AEM right now. Whether is it a good time to get in, all right, or maybe to take some profit. Let's find out. So for AEM, it has been in our watch list since the beginning of the year, right? I mean, all of you can clearly see we got the very first 1GT bullish signal popping out since January this year, right? Now it's July, right? So since January, we got a bullish signal. We broke certain key resistance like the $2, the $3. Of course, we got notes sent out to our clients as well since like January, February, March, right? You can check your WhatsApp, right? And, he has pushed even higher from like about $2 plus, or near $2 all the way to now a 364%. Right, 364%, right? Very strong rally. I would say the leader in the entire Singapore technology space. All right, besides Frencken, UMS, this will be one of the leaders, I would say, in the Singapore technology sector. So when we saw the US market, in terms of the technology, the AI plays moving up, that's where the Singapore tech stocks also started to play catch up and started to push up as well. So very strong already, right? More than 300% since we got the very first bullish signal. And after 7 months, finally, right? Not after 1 or 2 months, after 7 months, finally, if you ask me, we got a red color 1GT bearish signal, right? You all can see, right? Don't you bluff, have means have, don't have means don't have. I also hope don't have, right? But really have, right? So there's a 1GT bearish signal popping out, right? It doesn't mean it's going to crash. It doesn't mean it go all the way down, but it just means that some heavy selling have came back, right? Because it's not after 1 week or 2 weeks or 1 or 2 months, right? It's after 7 months, don't have. You've been holding very nicely, pushing higher. And finally, we got a bearish signal, right? And why did this bearish signal actually appear? Let me go to turn on this trailing support level very quickly. You can see that when we got the bullish signal in January, right? Same thing. I talk about the trailing support level, right? That followed AEM as it moved up, right? Up, flat, when it pop out, it was like $2, right? Up, flat, follow, and give it the space also to breathe. Hopefully it can go up some more, right? Which it did, right? Follow. Until right over here is around the $8.90. We went below it, I would say, last week. So a little bit shaky already since last Friday. As I said, we have given you the space to be above the trading support, right? You are volatile, never mind. I give you space, okay? But you use up all the space plus you go below it, a bit not so good, all right? A bit not so good. It's a bit shaky already, right? It's not like, wow, so bullish, can continue, pump, go all the way up. No. It's a bit shaky, all right? Your mindset should change to take some profit, get out, take some money, put in your pocket. That should be the mindset already, all right? Okay, so you can see that we got a 1GT bearish signal popping up after 7 months, all right? The reason was because we went below the trailing support level. So this looks a little bit negative. So good that you have got out, take some profit, all right? Jenny, you're looking to get in. I'm not too sure whether you got in previously and made some profits as well. But right now, I would say that it just looks a bit more uncertain now because we got a bearish signal after 7 months. And if you look at the green 20 days moving average line, you can see that this green line was up since January. Flat. And if you ask me right now, I would say that, last week it was like down a little bit, right? But right now, it seems like it is like really pointing down a bit more. Makes sense? All right. So it's the short-term trend has turned down, unfortunately. All right. And we got a bearish signal. So what I would say is that there's some selling coming back. All right. We have gone below the trailing support. Maybe you might want to watch this level. I think this next level is quite important because in June, last month, we kind of like rebounded from this level, right? I would say the 850, right? 850. You can see right over here, $8.50, right? We saw some pretty nice bullish reversal candlestick right over there, right? And then it started to rebound all the way to that $11, right? So the range is quite clear. 850 to 11. 11 is a very key resistance. So if not got out, I think it's good to take some profit near 10 to 11 because that's where sellers have obviously came out right over here, right? I think I mentioned in my previous AMAS live stream as well, people were asking about, AEM. I mentioned that 11 could be a resistance. You can take some profit there. You've got out there, great, right? But right now, I would think that 850 would be a good support level. We rebounded there in June last month. Bullish candlestick rebounded. Now we are right above it. We're right above it, right? So I don't know whether it'll hold, right? It seems like we're still above it right now. Thankfully, still okay. But just take note, right? If the 850 were to give way, right? We go below 850. That is where it will not be so strong, right? It will be weaker, right? We may even get another bearish signal popping out, all right? And the downside could really continue maybe all the way to like $7.50, $7. That could be the next downside already, right? So just to be more careful. So in terms of like, getting in, like for Jenny as well as for, let's see, okay, I'm trying to find the comment. Who asking about AEM, right? Wait, too many messages. Wait, sorry guys, cannot find, right? But who's that person? Sorry, let me. Where's the other AEM? Okay, give up. Sorry, it's too many messages. Okay, but yeah, for AEM, basically, if you're looking to get in, I would say that it's just be more cautious for now because the short-term trend is down. You've got a bearish signal. All right, if you really want to get in, try to get in near the support level. Well, that's fine, but have a plan. Have a plan because if the 850 were to give way, you might want to have a plan to reduce your exposure, get out because that's where more selling can actually come back. Okay, so that would be for AEM. That will be for AEM. I think pretty much just covered. I think this will be one of the very popular stock, that people ask us. Okay, so let me pass on the mic to Bavin to cover the next Singapore stock. Bavin, yes.
Thanks, Joey. Okay, let's choose the next Singapore stock right here. Okay, I'd like to do this one. Atara. Hi. So hopefully you're still here with us. Okay, CNMC Goldmine. Okay, bought a few times. Okay, so average at about 165, 176. Bought and then 150. Okay, add together 165. Okay, got it. My plan is for long term. Okay, it's good. What is the outlook? Hold, buy, or sell. 1GT buy just popped out. Okay, let's take a look at it together this morning. All right, you're right. We have a new 1GT bullish signal that had actually showed up on the 21st of July. All right, doesn't mean 1GT signal buy come out, then you just straight away go and buy. It doesn't work. It doesn't work that way. We still have to go through our checklist. We have a whole bunch of steps to do. We also have our risk management to do. If you want to find out a little bit more on that, I think the webinar link is in the chat. I think you can just sign up for that, but we don't have the whole time to go through the whole thing. But in a nutshell, not just immediately see 1GT bullish signal, go and buy. Okay, that is the wrong thing to do. Okay, my plan is for the long term, Atara. Okay, long term. So let's start with the longer term trend. What does it look like? We have the 100 days, 200 days moving average right there. The 100 days moving average started to point down in June. It started to point down in June, and that 200 days moving average has started to also flatten out already. All right, so people have the common misconception where they actually buy, then they say, okay, long term, then doesn't mean don't sell, don't do anything, don't have stop losses, don't have risk management, hold until don't know when, then what's next? All right, so even for a longer term trade, a longer term investment, however you put it, you will always still need a plan. I always have a plan because why is your money? You cannot just put it and then just forget about it and then hopefully one day come back, wow, it tripled. No, it doesn't work like that. You could come back and then worth nothing also. Okay, so for CNMC Goldmine, yes, I think if you are looking back then, I think when all the way in 2025, leading into 2026, even upwards or into early part of 2026, CNMC Goldmine was doing rather well. Would say it's doing not bad, right? It pushed up higher, push above, close to the $2 level. That's where we met with resistance, right? But subsequently, can see once I start changing the colors of my line, prices very quickly after that, subsequently over the next few weeks, started to change. Right, so someone could have bought, way back when first 1GT bullish signal here in July of 2025, all the way then up to here, and then did nothing long term. Great, it came down, still doing nothing, and right now have eroded like maybe more than half of the profit already. So even for longer term holdings, you need to have a plan. Okay, it doesn't mean you say long term. Okay, then do nothing. Right now, let's see what we can do. Okay, so firstly, we have your cost price, about 165. Okay, around 65 average cost price. Right here, let me just drag that out, change it to a dash line, change it to green color for you. Okay, so that is your average cost price right around there, bought at about 176. Okay, a bit on the higher side, that one fine. 150, that was a good entry, I would say. Right now, we see that the immediate support, I would place it temporary support. Just let me get rid of that line, draw one here. Right here, at about that 125 or maybe that 120 level. This was where prices previously had consolidated. So maybe here 120 to 125, right? Previously supported by buyers back then in January, February, right? So right now we are holding above it. All right, 20 days moving average is pointing up. We have that 1GT bullish signal showing up. All right, so I want to very quickly on that trailing support. You can do the same because I think you have the same indicator as us. You can see that trailing support right now about 110. All right, very close. 110. 110 is that trailing support. Right now is at around that level. So if we were to break below that 120 level, Tara, you want to be a little bit more cautious already. Right, so 165 downwards to 120, that's about 40 cents loss. Right, below it, more than 45 cents losses, 46, 47 cents losses. If we break below that trailing support, sitting on more than 50 cents in losses, more than 30% in losses in that case for your position. Okay, so then the next support will be at about that $1 level. Right, so right now the longer term trend doesn't look too good. So if especially you want to hold long term, the longer term trend not good, then surely don't want to hold already lah. Right, so that's must be the first consideration. Right, so of course you hold long term, that means your opportunity cost stretches out over a longer period of time as well. You don't want to be holding the money not working hard for you, not working at all. In fact, it's losing for you. We have to take steps to protect that capital. All right, nothing wrong. Leave it on your watch list, I would say, for CNMC, Goldmine. If it eventually comes back, recaptures, I would say the immediate resistance right here, about 135. All right, 135 level, 130 to 135 level. Can get back in. You can come back to take a look at it, right? See if the trend has changed. We can get back in for a longer term position then again. All right, but right now, trends are changing. You don't want to be caught in a bad spot, right? If it really further heads down, see, over the last 2 days, it tried to approach that 135 level. Sellers immediately come back in already. All right, sellers are starting to come back in. So definitely, at least it's good. At least it's good that you're not going to go and be saying I bought more yesterday. Wow, then that one I'll be stressed lah. All right, it's good that you're thinking through. All right, yes, it's a 1GT bullish signal. What's the next step? I would say write down 120, 135. These two levels. Set up some alerts if possible for yourself on TradingView. If you get triggered by any of the alerts, 120, maybe you need to come in to watch. If it weakens 130, great. Maybe we can even start to reduce some exposure. I know it's a little bit of a loss. 135, that you can reduce some loss, reduce some of your exposure first. See if you can head up higher to 150, and maybe we can see what we can do from there again. All right, so I think Atara, that is roughly the plan for CNMC Goldmine. Maybe just watch out for it. All right, passing the time now to Z to cover the next requested stock. Z.
All right, thank you, Bervin. Okay, so I think for myself, right, before I pass back to Joey, I would like to cover or give you guys an update maybe about this stock, because I think this was something that previously was also covered as one of the bonus stock as well, right? And I think this is within a space that people are currently maybe still thinking, hey, is it okay? Is it not okay? What is happening, right? So let's take a look at this together, right? So let me just turn off everything first. Okay, and this is by Prof, right? Can cover PC partners have forecast good results? Oh, okay. I think maybe when you say have forecast good results, right? Maybe you have also clicked this, right? The latest update, and then you see this, right? They are saying that news reports, routers say that the PC partner expect net profit attributed of not less than Hong Kong 500 million, things like that, right? So those are, I would say, forecasts, right? But we won't know exactly, how will the market, right, actually react to that when the earnings result actually comes out. And I think that would be somewhere 1 month later, right? About 21st of August, right? That is when the earnings result comes in, right? But at this point in time for PC partners, right? If we look at these, by the way, PC partners, they actually, produce things like, graphic cards, right? And they produce like basically electronics peripherals, right? Mini PCs, motherboards, and they are core partners, right? And underlying tech providers are major GPU giants like NVIDIA and AMD, right? So that's just some background information, right? But we also want to look at the technical analysis of how these PCT partners is actually moving, right? Overall, longer term trend, does it still look okay? I think all of you here will agree with me that longer term, definitely okay lah, right? Red and the blue is actually pointing up. When I turn on the 1GT indicator, right, the 1GT Pro indicator, over here, we do see a 1GT bullish signal that it's actually still playing out, right? What about short-term trend? Short-term trend, I mean, past couple of months, May, June, July, up, all good, right? But over the past month or so, you can see that it started to lose some steam, right? It flattened out and it is starting to show some sign of weakness whereby the 20 days moving average, you can see if I zoom big enough, can you guys see that it has started to show some signs of it pointing down? But I mean, of course, I think of course we don't have a 1GT bearish signal yet, right? A bullish signal is still playing out, but it is starting to show some signs of short-term weakness, right? And that is where, especially for some of you guys who, I'm not sure, Prof, are you holding on to PC partners or are you thinking about entering? But I believe some of you guys who have been regulars here and who, that time when we covered PC partners first, right, as a bonus stock, right? Some of you guys have been saying that, wow, you have been riding on to this for some time, right? I hope some of you guys have taken some profits, by the way, when they are nearing resistance, especially if you have taken some profits near the $3.10, $3, psychological level. I think that's fine, right? That's fine. Even now, we have seen that the new resistance, right, the immediate resistance no longer seems to be around this 310 to 320, right? Previously, 310 to 320, I think this was where selling pressure returned, right? But now it seems like the resistance, immediate resistance, has been lowered to maybe around this $2.80 right over here, right? There seems to be some sort of selling pressure returning, right? It doesn't mean that resistance stay at 320, you will forever be at 320. It could also adjust lower and come down because sellers are willing to sell at lower prices, right? So that is what we have been seeing over the past month, right? Resistance, selling pressure right over here near the 280. So if you are still holding on to some positions for PC partners, right, and if prices were to head back up to this 280, I would say that actually there's nothing wrong if you're thinking about locking in your profits, right? Especially so when we are already seeing some short-term weakness returning to this stock with 20 days moving average pointing down, right? So that's one thing to take note of, right? And the other thing to also highlight, right, and take note of, right, would be that you can see the support over here, right? I would have drawn it around this $2.40, right? This $2.40, I would say that it could be one of the immediate support that we could be looking at, right? We could be looking at in terms of maybe thinking of shifting your stop limit order up to protect your profits if you have gotten in, right at the very beginning when the first 1GT bullish signal came out and you're still holding, perhaps, right? So this 240, right, I think would be one of the very crucial support level to take note of, right? Especially if prices were to head to this level, can it actually hold above this $2.40? Right, I think this would be something that perhaps some of you guys might want to set some price alert on as well, right? Because if it does break below this 240, right, then the next support, right, would be around this $2.20, maybe 2.15 to 2.20. That could be the next support that we could be looking at, right? But why I highlighted this 2.40, right, that's very crucial, right? Let me just remove everything, okay? And let's just turn on this thing called the trailing support and resistance. Can you see? Right over here, this trailing support right here, right? This one I never draw on. This one is based on this trailing support function right here. I turn it on, turn it off, and you can see that it's exactly right at this $2.40 as well, which is just now I draw the horizontal support right? So this I think would be something that you want to watch very closely for, to see whether can it indeed really hold above this 240, because the trailing support at 240, horizontal we also draw at 240, right? So it's a level that you want to give more weight to because if it does break below these 240, what's going to happen? Very likely, I mean, I would say that actually if it closes below this 240, definitely we will be seeing a 1GT bearish signal. And what does that tell you? It tells you that it gives you another layer of confirmation that selling pressure has indeed returned, right? And that is where you want to take active steps to protect your profits, protect your capital. Okay, so for PCT partners, right, I would say that at this point in time, if for those of you who are thinking about getting in, maybe you have no exposure, thinking about getting in, right, I think around the support zone here is somewhere where you could be setting some price alert. You see, I've set my price alert right here, right? But does it mean that if it does suddenly go down to this level, straight away buy? No. What you want to watch out or monitor for definitely would be if price tests this level multiple times, right? This 20 days moving average, is it pointing down, still pointing down, or has it stabilized, right? If it has stabilized, great, right? Then that is where you can start formulating your trading plan, because long-term trend still looks good, short-term now no longer showing weakness, right? But if it's still showing weakness, then of course you don't want to be buying, right? So that is something that, maybe Prav, you can think about. I'm not too sure if you're holding on to a position, especially, you're thinking of buying into a counter. But whereas for those of you who are already holding on to this, I would say that again, nothing wrong to take some profits, especially near the immediate resistance around the 280. Okay, so I hope that helps for Prav, and also for those of you who are thinking about these PCT partners, right? Especially it was one of the bonus stock that was highlighted previously. And with that, I pass the time back over to Joey right now.
All right, thank you so much, Z. All right, now we have covered a total of like 15 stocks, and by right we should go to the segment whereby we're going to share with you guys like 3 bonus stocks, right, at the end. But I just saw one more very interesting stock, so I thought let me cover one more. Let me just cover one more stock that you guys were asking about. And my apologies, guys. My apologies if we cannot cover all the stocks. It's almost more than 2 hours already. We have covered 15 and now this 16 stocks. So it will probably take us like many hours to cover all 50, 60 stocks. So hopefully you can join us the next time again in our AMES session, right? But let me just choose one more. Stock to cover, all right? And that would be this stock whereby I saw 2 or 3 of you were asking about it. Let's see, right? Esther, I hope you're still over here, right? AddValue Tech, right? Came down from 0.205, you thought of buying. What is a good price to look at, right? What is a good price to look at? So looking to get in, looking to buy AddValue Tech. I think another of you asking about it as well. Roland, all right? Please review AddValue Tech. The code is A31. Can buy in now or wait for its upcoming Nasdaq listing, all right? Okay, AddValue Tech right over here. So for AddValue Tech, you can see that it's one of those stocks whereby the longer term trend is pretty much up, right, and intact. Look at the red line and the blue line, 100 days moving average line pointing up very nicely. Since last year, blue line pointing up, 100 days above the 200 days moving average, right? So very stable, nice, consistent, beautiful, long-term uptrend stock, right? In the short term, well, it doesn't mean it go up every day. Sometimes you can see we get a bearish signal. It starts going down a bit, maybe sideways for like a month, and a bit boring. But when a new bullish signal appears, you can see there we go, right? Same thing over here as well. We got bullish signal popping out since like 2025 last year. That was like May last year. A second one came out. There we go, right? Very strong rally. Okay, now let's take a look at what has happened over the past 2 to 3 months, right? So we got bullish signals popping out in April, went all the way up by about 75, 76%, and then we got a bearish signal. It starts coming down, right? You can clearly see that when we got a bearish signal in last month, right, the short-term trend also started to turn down, All right. So if you ask me last month, I would say wait first, be patient now. Is you got bearish signal plus the green line also pointing down, right? You want to be patient, right? You want to be patient, okay? You want to wait for at least the short-term trend to don't point down. All right. It can be flat, it can be pointing up, but don't point down lah. Make sense? All right, Ken? So let's take a look at what we call the green 20 days moving average, right? Over the past 1 week, well, it seems like it has really stopped pointing down lah. Make sense? Right? It was like down, down, down. Then now, like just a bit pointing up already lah, right? Not really up a lot, but I would say a little bit of it pointing up. You see what I'm saying about, right? So there's definitely some signs of the short-term trend, all right? Reversing back up, being aligned with what we call the longer-term trend, which has been up since last year lah. Right, so that's a good thing, right? So we're some signs of reversal in terms of the short-term trend. Now, next thing that we're gonna look at would be the resistance level. Like for example, over the past 1 month, right, since breaking down this level, I think you want to take note of this level that 15 cents, 0.150, right? Look at this, right? 15 cents, we were there, came down, we rebounded, touched it, came down. In fact, past 3 days, we would go above it and come back down again, right? So it seems like this 15 cents it's a bit of a resistance level. We need to really break above that level, stay above it. I think that's where it will be more bullish, right? And another level to look at would be this 16 cents as well. I think 16 cents would be where what we call the next resistance level would be. All right, in fact, I could turn on the trailing resistance. Let's take a look. You can see, right, guys, look at the trailing resistance. It's right over here, around that 16 cents. So for me, that 15 cents to 16 cents level is quite crucial. Normally, we want to wait for confirmation. We stay above 15, maybe even breaking above 16 cents. I think that is where it could be much more bullish. The reversal will take shape much more firmly as well. So watch this stock. I think these are the level of 15 to 16 cents. If we go above 16 cents, we will get a bullish signal, all right, popping out as well. Something like what we saw. Look at this, right? In fact, let's take a look at this in like March. Remember March, we got a bearish signal, right? You look at the green line. Of course, what we have seen previously is that the green line was like down, like for almost 1 month. Then now starting to point up. In March, right? You can see that the green line also got bearish signal. The green line was flat, then down, only 1-2 weeks, starting to point up. Can you see? So we are like, so if you look back, we are like, in March, we are like over here. We're like over here. So like just a bit pointing up. Make sense? In terms of the short-term trend, just a bit pointing up. But the bullish signal haven't come out yet. You can see here, it come out like a few days later. And that will be another confirmation. But you can see once the bullish signal come out, and then you see for yourself. All the way up. Does it make sense? All right. So right now we are kind of like over here in like March, just seeing some signs of a reversal in the short term. It looks pretty good, right? But we just need a bit more confirmation. If we can break like the 15 cents or even the 16 cents, and maybe even a new bullish signal popping up. Now haven't yet, but let's say if a bullish signal pops up right over here, when we break 16 and stuff, then different story. That's where I think there could be much more strength. I think the reversal can happen quite clearly all the way up back to that 18 to even 20 cents level. All right, so that's what I'm watching for. So that would be for AddValue Tech. So I hope that helps, all right, Roland, and also for Estelle, right? For Estelle, that will be the confirmation that I seek. I mean, if you want to just time your entry to get in a little bit right now, it seems like 140 to 145. That's where some bargain hunting have came back, all right? So if you want, you can consider some, but do a bit of risk management, position sizing, because you don't really have the confirmation yet. So you nibble a little bit if you want, but normally when we get the confirmation, that's where we will be more convicted, all right, to enter a larger size position on that trade. Okay, so that is AddValue Technology. Hopefully that helps, Esther. All right, that will be pretty much stock number 16, right? Stock number 16. Okay, good. Now let's move on. Let's move on, guys, to the segment that I think you guys have been waiting for right at the end. We're going to share with you guys 3 bonus Singapore stock that you might want to put in your watch list for potentially even more upside. So my very first stock that I'd like to share with you guys would be this company right over here. Let me just, I think I saw it in the chat, but it's probably hidden somewhere already, guys. Probably don't have time to find. But what would be the stock? This stock is none other than Yangzijiang Shipbuilding, YZJ shipbuilding, right? $4.03, right? Okay, let me just go to turn off the signal so I can explain very quickly. But you can see that for Yang Zhejiang, right? We have actually been in a bit of a consolidation since like March, right? It was like, you know, going up and then down, up and then down, right? But right now seems to be moving up. Well, I want to share with you guys this resistance level right over here called $4.40. So that was where we were. We saw bearish candles popping out right over here. We sold down, retested another bearish candle with long upper shadow coming out right over here. We sold down, right? But over the past few days, what I like is that we got what we call a new bullish signal popping out. Look at this, right? So we got bearish signal. Okay, I mean, let's just retrace back a little bit. You can see somewhere in February, we got two bullish signals, all the way up, right? Bearish signals popped up in May, started to sell down. The green line also turned down, right? And then became flat over the past 2 weeks. But if you look at it over the past few days, right, the green 20 days moving average line has sloped up, right? That's a sign of strength, all right? And one thing I like is that we have also got above this resistance at about that $3.80. So 380 would be what we call a bit of a resistance, like it was a support. You can see we got bearish signals. We went below it, rebounded to it and tested, pushed down again. But over the past 3 days, we have gone above 380. In fact, I think today or maybe yesterday, it seems like we are trying to go above that $4 psychological resistance level as well. So I think my take is that I think, you know, it just looks more bullish. It just looks more bullish. Anything above 380 to even 390, I think upside targets can be raised back to the same $4 level. All right, so back to the same $4 level. All right, today right now is what, 403. Oh, now it's lunchtime already. Okay, not lunchtime. Okay, so yeah, I think you can stay above $4. So $4 might come out as a new support level, not even 380 or 390. Yeah, even $4 could come out as a new support level, and that's why we could slowly see, you know, it attempting to push even higher, more strength towards the 420 to 440. Right, so that would be for Yang Zhejiang Shipbuilding. One of the stocks that has came to watch this. It was a bit boring. It was weak in like May and June, but right now some signs of reversal has started to come back. Right, so put in your watch list. Right, not too bad. I think. Let's see how it plays out over the next few weeks. All right, so that's my first bonus stock, YZJ Shipbuilding. The code is BS6. Now let me pass on the mic to Bervin to cover his Singapore bonus stock. Bervin, yours.
All right, thanks, Joey. Okay, so let's go on to my bonus stock for today. All right, my bonus stock for today. Let me just change up the screen right here. It will be this stock, Centurion. All right, Centurion Corporation. All right, the stock code is OU8. All right, so we're bringing back this stock. All right, it hasn't actually left our watch list, but over the last few months, I would say we were pretty much just moving a little sideways. All right, some weakness on here and there, but look at that. I think on this day right here, I finally woke up a little bit in July. On the 10th of July, Centurion finally woke up, breaking above that $1.55 resistance level. All right, 155 gave way. We very quickly headed higher to test, even coming close to that $1.70 level, where we had a 1GT, a second 1GT bullish signal actually show up. All right, so right now we have the 20 days moving average hovering just very close to this 155 level. So this is pretty much a very key support level, we say, at this point of time. If you are looking at Centurion, this could be a very, very key level you want to take note of, because there is a confluence of factors. All right, if I can draw a buy zone, I would draw it maybe from 155 upwards to maybe about 160. All right, 155 to upwards to about 160. There is where potentially we could see bargain hunting come back in if we were to dip towards this level. As you can see, I think a couple of days ago, earlier this week on the 20th of July, we actually saw that as prices approach that 155 level, buyers immediately came in the next day to push prices back up slightly higher again. But what is the risk? What is the risk here? We have earnings actually coming out on the 6th of August for Centurion. 6th of August, I just want to take note of that. If you are currently still holding on to some Centurion since the last time we spoke about it, you may want to take note that this sell zone still stands 167 upwards to about 170. That is a key level that you want to watch out for. And if it gives way, very clearly we have the next target already drawn to about $1.85. All right, so far I would expect Centurion to actually do a little bit of sideways consolidation. That means prices are most probably or likely going to be just heading up and down within this phase firstly before attempting to push higher, unless we have a very, very good result or a catalyst that actually come in to push prices above the $1.70 immediately. I would think that would be the likely pattern of movement. All right, so currently there's a trailing support underneath the 155 level, harboring about that 150 level. So can use this trailing support right now as a reference for your stop limit order. Just place it under the 150 level so you can also lock up some profits if prices starts to break down again, or the trend starts to break down in if it happens. All right, so I think that is my bonus stock. Centurion still looking not too bad. All right, finally waking up. Hopefully you're gonna see some good bullish moves over the next couple of days, next couple of weeks. All right, now I'll pass the time to Z to cover the last bonus stock for today. Z, please.
All right, thanks, Marvin. Okay, let me share my screen over here and let me change the banner. Okay, so yes, for my bonus stock today, right, I'd like to share with you guys, and that would be none other than Boustead Agri. And I think just now I saw, wait, let me see, where is it? I saw a comment, Li Ming, right? Li Ming, you mentioned that Cat can cover Boustead bought at 1.8221 GT bullish signal triggered your advice, please. So sorry I couldn't cover it earlier because this is actually the bonus stock, right, that I would like to share with you guys today, right? So Joey started off with Yang Zedang Shipbuilding, right? Then Bervin just covered Centurion. And right now for me, I am covering Boustead, which is totally in a different sector, which is like oil palm plantation, right? So one thing that just now I saw a comment by Energized Mood as well, right? Saying that, hey, do you know the market look a little bit bearish, but there's still a few SGX counters that are starting or continuing to move up, which I think that's perfectly correct, right? Because that is what makes the market interesting, man. You know, there's a lot of tech stocks that is showing weakness, moving down, but there are still stocks out there that is still showing strength, right? And that is why we also have bonus stock session to share with you guys like what are some of the stocks that is still in our watch list and we are actually still watching. Okay, so let's take a look at Boustead together right now. Okay, so for Boustead over here, right, you can see that price is currently not currently trading, actually now lunchtime. Yeah, Joey was saying now lunchtime, right? So 1.84, right? 1.84. And you can see that I agree with what Li Ming said, right? Li Ming actually said that there is two 1GT bullish signal that is being triggered right over here, right? So 2 is actually still playing out. And what we have seen over the past month is that the 20 days moving average, right? You can see it started to gain strength and go back up. And is it pointing up? It is actually pointing up, right? If you ask us about 3 to 4 months back, April, May, you can see that, wow, 20 days start pointing down, short-term weakness, right? Flatten out a bit, and now it is gaining strength again, going back up, right? And over here, you can see, I mean, long-term trend, don't need to talk about it, right? Everybody can see the red and the blue line is actually pointing up, right? Short-term strength now is aligning back up with the longer-term uptrend. Okay, so that's great, right? That's great. And then, of course, always going back to the basics. I want to know where's my support, where's my resistance, then potentially I can formulate my trading plan, right? So right here, you can see I've drawn my immediate support over here at about $1.80. Previously, this 180, you can see that it's very clear from April to June before it broke down. This level was actually a support, right? Then here, what happened? It turns to become a resistance. It break down, 1GT bearish signal came out right over here, right, in middle of June, attempting to break this 180 resistance, but cannot break, right? Selling pressure came in, push price back down again. 1 week later, test again, cannot, right? Over here, over the past week, did it manage to break above this 180? It did, right? It did manage to break above this 180. Is it still holding above the 180? Yes, right? Over the past week, it's still definitely holding above this 180. So this 180 essentially has turned from a support to a resistance and now back to a support. And usually when a level, right, has been tested multiple times as a support and resistance, right, we want to give a bit more weight to it, right? So this 180 at this point in time, I would say immediate support level, right? Resistance, what about resistance? Resistance, as you can see over here, I've drawn one level at about $2, right? Number one, $2, psychological level, right? And secondly, right here, this was where we see some selling pressure. And look at this candlestick. Wow, this one very bearish candlestick. The long upper shadow are very, very long. Indicates selling pressure is present, right? And here, this $2, I mean psychological level as well, right? So that is why we draw a potential upside target towards $2 as a resistance zone, right? Right here, like so, right? But I mean, of course, subsequently, the next resistance, if you're thinking about drawing the next resistance, next upside target based on the previous price action, some people, they might draw about 215, 220. I think right here, this would be the next resistance zone, right? But we are not there yet, right? We are not there yet. We are just breaking above the 180 only, right? So got to step by step, right? So then with that, I mean, of course, you know your support, you know your resistance, and that is where you can already formulate your trading plan, right? Because now we know that, hey, it actually fulfills the criteria that the long-term, short-term is actually intact. We got bullish signal that is actually still playing out. Price is holding above the support at about 180. Next upside target, perhaps towards $2. Then that is when you can perhaps start formulating your trading plan based on your risk appetite and also your position sizing, right? With regards to the support, resistance, and also your stop loss to manage your downside. Okay, not just saying that buy and don't care. Buy, you need to have a plan in place, right? So that at least you know what you're gonna do if it goes up, if it goes down. Okay, so make sure to have a plan in place, and also because I don't know you guys the risk appetite is how big lah, but make sure to also do your position sizing. Okay, so I think, I mean, definitely for Boustead, it definitely still looks pretty bullish, pretty good on my end, and it is definitely in my watch list lah, right? And I will definitely be watching for this Boustead. But if you like this stock as well, I think you can also add it into your watch list. You know, take note of some of the levels that was mentioned, right? Especially, I think, Liming, right? Just now you were saying that you bought at 1.82, right? Perfectly at this support zone, right? But also have a plan in place to manage your downside if this 180 doesn't hold, or if it goes up to near the $2, have some plan to take partial profits as well. Okay, so yeah, I think that would be for Boustead on my end. I think we still have about 217 of you that are still here with us, right? Staying all the way to the end. Thank you so much, right? But I think what I would just like to remind you guys, right, is that I'm not too sure how many of you guys here are, you know, maybe I know a lot of you guys are clients, but maybe some of you guys who are not clients, right, and you would like to receive, you know, trading ideas on a daily basis for free, at no additional cost, right? And on WhatsApp, right? On WhatsApp. And, you know, maybe your current broker not doing anything, not too sure who your broker is even, then perhaps you might want to join our community, right? Under Joey, to be a client under Joey in Philip Security as well. Okay, so I think the link is already in the chat. Yeah, the link is already in the chat. So if you guys are keen, want to have value-added services like all these daily trading ideas, and also have a community, right? Then make sure to click on the link and find out a bit more lah. Okay, so yeah, with that, I've ended my segment. I'll pass my time back over to Joey so that he can close off today's session.
All right, thank you so much, Z. So yeah, there we have it, guys. I think Z mentioned about how you can become a client of mine in Flip Securities as well. Yeah, so I mean, these are some of the top stocks that has been in our watch list, right? In fact, let me just say the three stocks again: Yangzijiang Shipbuilding that I covered, Centurion, Boustead Agri, and to be honest, many other Singapore stocks as well. Of course, we don't have time to cover everything, but like Z mentioned, if you want to get some of these names or these top ideas that you know popped up in our watch list, that you know whereby we get alerted by bullish signals, right? Find out how you can become a client of mine in Flip Securities by having what we call a free trading account, which you need a trading account to buy and sell stock, right? Anyway, same, right? So if you're not really getting any service from your own broker, nobody send you any idea, no video, no training, nobody call you, nobody WhatsApp you, nothing. Find out how you can be one. That's where we look forward to add more value to you, and that's where we hope to share you some of our private trainings as well, all right, and some of those ideas much faster. All right, so there we have it, guys. I think we have come to the end of today's session, and one last final call. You know, I was just checking the stock just now, and I think we have quite a lot of you actually taking up the offer and getting yourself the One Good Trend Secrets book. All right, we only have a few copies left. All right, and check it out. The link is right in the chat. Let me just paste the link in the chat again for this One Good Trend Secrets book. which I pretty much document the entire 7-step checklist, step by step, right over here. Pretty much just pay for printing and postage. The book is free. Just help me with the printing and postage. We'll deliver it to you anywhere in Singapore. If you're overseas, it's $29.95. In Singapore, it's $19.95, right? So last final few copies, guys, check it out. Those of you who have not secured your copy before they run out again, we are not looking to reprint in the next 4 or 5 months. Okay, Ken, so that is pretty much the book. And one thing I want to share as well, I think like Energized boat, right? A bit bearish in the market, right? But still feel SGX counters are starting and continue to move up. Exactly, right? So not all stocks are bearish. Of course, some are weak. Some has bearish signals. Some are going down, like what we have covered for your stocks, right? But some are strong, right? You need to know when to get in on the strong one. And more importantly, what are even the strong ones to begin with? Does it make sense, right? So that's where, if you are a client of mine in Flip Securities, we can share with you some of those top ideas on the daily basis by WhatsApp for free, right? Okay, Ken? Now, anything to add, Bervin or Z?
I think there's one last thing to add, all right? So, of course, today we went through, I think, 16 stocks plus 3 bonus stocks, 19 stocks. There are so many more other stocks, other good stocks that possibly that we didn't even cover. Right? So if you'd like to maybe also find out on how we actually filter out those top stocks, all right? Attend one of Joey's free webinar. Is happening on the 4th of August, 7:30 p.m. on Zoom. So you do it at home in your own comfort, sit down after dinner, check it out, all right? The link is in the chat. Click there to actually register for the upcoming webinar. All right, that's all for me.
Okay, good. Anything, Z?
Nothing much on my end. Just want to thank everybody over here for joining us, on every Friday. But we look forward to seeing you in the next Friday again.
All right, that's it, guys. So that's it. Have a good, blessed weekend. All right, signing off for our Ask Me Any Stock session. We look forward to see you next Friday. And that's where we'll dive back into the US market. So we hope you enjoyed today's Singapore AMA session. Joey here and team signing off. We'll see you guys. Thank you so much for joining us. We hope that you've got value. We'll see you guys again. Take care. Bye. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Have a good weekend ahead.